Chapter 63. 30-40-year-old corpses. They should have been formed recently. Most of them were rogue cultivators. At most in the 3rd to 4th body refinement layer. They were not a threat at all. Dijian took the lead, taking out 4 to 5 arrows. So. At a 45-degree angle, looking up at the sky, he shot them all into the sky. The black arrows fell straight down. The corpses did not even notice. Each of their heads had been pierced by an arrow, falling straight down. Fast. Too fast. Chu Tian couldn't help praising. Good archery. Dijian put away his bow, giving a friendly smile. He did not say anything. Bai Zimo crossed his arms and disdainfully taunted. This kind of insignificant skill. Only people like you would think it's good. What are you standing there for? Are you going to watch the show? Go get the corpse core. Bai Zimo not only did not give Chu Tian face, he also embarrassed Dijian. He even put on a commanding tone. This made people somewhat annoyed. Chu Tian was puzzled. You little brat. You really have a sense of superiority. I've already let you go once. You wouldn't think that I'm a spineless coward, right? Bai Zimo crossed his arms, coldly smiled and said, You don't seem convinced. Lu run, I'll go with you. Kai Dai was afraid of causing a conflict in the team. She pulled Chu Tian away. Bai Zimo seeing this, his brows wrinkled even deeper, his eyes flashed a trace of annoyance. The others were all very easy to get along with. Only Bai Zimo's temper was too bad. Bai Zimo was indispensable, not to mention Bai Zimo being familiar with the terrain, knowing how to avoid traps in dangerous areas. With his strong strength, he could solve the problem for the team in a critical moment. With a strong teammate by their side, their hearts felt a bit more at ease. His temper. They could just endure it. Corpse cores and beast cores were different. The beast core was the source energy of a demon beast. When the demon beast was about to advance, it would condense in its body. So killing 10 demon beasts, obtaining 1 beast core was already good enough. Corpse cores were completely different. They were condensed from yin qi and corpse qi. Every yin corpse would produce 1. Because of this, the yin corpse valley's production was very high. The cultivation techniques of the evil sects often required corpse cores to assist in their cultivation. In some special alchemy or refining processes, corpse cores were also an important material. Chu Tian did not understand the cultivation methods of the evil sections. The corpse cores would be of limited help to him. It would be better to collect them and exchange them for the materials he needed in the black market. The 5 of them continued forward. The yin corpse valley was filled with yin corpses, but up until now, the yin corpses they had met, their strengths were not very strong. Xianghu, Kai Dai and Dijian, they could instantly deal with the yin corpses. Dijian's mobility was very strong, and he was good at long-range shooting. Xianghu practiced a fierce and violent cultivation technique. He had a strong destructive power at close range. There was not a single yin corpse that could block his hammer. What surprised Chu Tian the most was Kai Dai. This girl's strength was not weak at all. Although her cultivation base was only at the 9th body refinement layer, her cultivation technique was very good. Her martial arts were also very rich. With the autumn water treasure sword in her hand, her battle strength was greatly increased, almost reaching the peak of the 9th body refinement layer. Young Miss Kai Dai was not an ordinary person. Whether it was the cultivation technique, martial arts, or equipment, this was not something a trivial rogue cultivator could have. Bai Zimo and Chu Tian had not made a move yet. Because Bai Zimo was the strongest, he needed to conserve his spirit energy, using it to deal with special situations. Chu Tian did not make a move, because everyone thought of him as a strong meat shield cultivator. There were more and more corpse cores. They filled the entire bag. Xianghu excitedly said, We've almost collected 100 corpse cores. If we divide them evenly, we can go to the Great Zhou country's black market caravans and exchange them for a good medicine or even a good weapon. Kai Dai's face was filled with joy. The long sword in her hand was as clear as autumn water, beautiful and moving. Now that we've entered the yin corpse valley, we cannot be careless. We must be careful. He did not even finish speaking. There was a terrifying howl in front of them. A bone-chilling cold wind. It was like an ice blade whistling through the air, making the hearts of the 5 of them feel a chill. Di Jian's face changed as he said, "There is the aura of a high-level Yin corpse in the southwest." When everyone looked over, they saw a Yin corpse covered in mud, slowly crawling out of a hole in the ground. This was clearly different from a normal Yin corpse. Its body was not withered. Rather, it was very strong. It was covered in a dark green corpse poison. Its fierce eyes stared at them. The terrifying killing intent made it hard for them to breathe. Xiang Hu felt his heart jump. This Yin corpse has the strength of a 9th body refinement layer. Yin corpses are invulnerable. They also have corpse poison. Even if we're at the same level, it would still be difficult for us to be their opponent. Kai Dai felt a little nervous. She couldn't help taking a step back. "Bai Zimo, you can easily deal with him here. I'll have to trouble you to make a move. No need to be anxious." Bai Zimo did not panic, he said in a joking tone. "We still have one person. We haven't made a move yet." Kai Dai clenched her fists. She angrily said, "Zimo, at this time, can you not be like this?" "Humph, young Miss Kai Dai, what are you worried about? I'm here to protect you. You won't be hurt." Bai Zimo crossed his arms in front of his chest, his eyes staring at the Yin corpse in front of him. He did not have any thoughts of making a move. "I just can't stand some people who reap without sowing, mixing into the team, but never putting in any effort." This Bai Zimo was clearly targeting Chu Tian. "What are you still doing?" Bai Zimo said to Chu Tian in a condescending tone. "This one is yours. Why haven't you made a move yet?" Yin corpses were at least 100 years old. A person at the 8th body refinement layer going to deal with them. Wasn't that just seeking death? Yin corpses were good at using corpse poison. In close combat, they had to defeat them in one go. Otherwise, if they were infected with the Yin corpse's poison, they would die without a doubt. Yin corpses were demons. They did not have the weakness of living beings. They even had copper skin and iron bones. This youth's cultivation was not only weak, he was clearly walking the defensive path. Letting him deal with such a powerful Yin corpse, wasn't that sending him to his death? Kai Dai angrily said, "Do you want to see him die? I told you, our team doesn't need useless people. It was you who brought him in. Can you blame me for this?" Bai Zimo coldly said, "If he really dies, then that's a good thing. One less person means we'll get a few more corpse cores, right? Good. If you don't make a move, then forget it." Kai Dai couldn't bear it. "Lu Run, let's go together." Xiang Hu also couldn't stand Bai Zimo's conduct. "I'll also help." Di Jian did not say anything, but he used his actions to show his stance. He took out a black arrow from his back and prepared to fight. Bai Zimo revealed a trace of anger. That's right, he was purposely messing with this brat. Who told this brat to have such a strong strength at such a young age? Chu Feng was not a simple person. He could easily defeat the 9th body refinement layer Chu Feng with his 8th body refinement layer cultivation. His talent was even higher than his own. Bai Zimo's nature was very proud, so he was very arrogant. He couldn't stand others being stronger than him. Because of this, he didn't like this brat from the beginning. So what if his talent was high? Even geniuses could easily fall. Who would have thought that Kai Dai and the others would dare to go against him, ruining Bai Zimo's plans? Chu Tian gave a slight sigh. How could he not see through Bai Zimo's thoughts? This kind of person had no tolerance, narrow-minded, afraid of competition. No matter how high his talent was, he was doomed to not have any big achievements. "No need to trouble you, I'll give it a try." Chu Tian's legs kicked out. Like a phantom, he quickly rushed out, his toes stepping on a rock. He immediately shot out like an arrow. When the Yin corpse saw this, the corpse poison on its body became even thicker. Its claws were filled with black qi. It roared as it charged at Chu Tian. "Quickly come back. You can't deal with it alone." Kai Dai and Xiang Hu's expressions changed. Di Jin quickly pulled out his bow. Chu Tian took out a talisman in midair and poured his spirit energy into the talisman, immediately activating the source energy array. Entering hyperfocus, he dodged the Yin corpse's claw and slapped the talisman onto the Yin corpse. The talisman turned into a white spear. It pierced through the Yin corpse's chest, coming out from its back. Go! This spear of light pierced the Yin corpse's body, actually pinning the Yin corpse to the rock wall. It is reasonable to say, Yin corpses were not afraid of normal injuries. But this Yin corpse let out a mournful howl. Its body was covered in smoke, like it was on fire. In a short while it turned into a dried-up corpse. Di Jian's bow was only half drawn, because Chu Tian's movements were too fast, rushing out like lightning, skillfully avoiding the attack, releasing the talisman technique, breaking the enemy in one move. It was like he had practiced it thousands of times. It was simply too smooth. Such a strong 100-year-old Yin corpse was actually killed in one move. Kai Dai's face was filled with shock. How did you do it? Chu Tian dug out the corpse core and walked back. I have a light attribute talisman technique. The light attribute has a special killing effect on Yin corpses. Bai Zimo's eyes flashed with anger. He coldly said, Humph, using external objects to fight. What is there to be proud of? I really feel disdain for you. Kai Dai was very disappointed in Bai Zimo. She never thought that this fellow would actually be such a narrow-minded person. No matter what, Lu Ren killed the Yin corpse. The difficulty of killing this Yin corpse surpasses the sum of the Yin corpses we've just killed. You have nothing to say. Bai Zimo's face sank. He did not say anything. However, at this time, Di Jian suddenly shouted out in horror. This is bad. There are many Yin corpses nearby. We've been surrounded. As if it was to set off his words. In all directions of the canyon, the mournful cries of the Yin corpses came at the same time. From the caves in the ground, from the caves, Yin corpses kept crawling out. Each one was filled with a dense ghost aura. Their faces fierce. The majority of them had a strength of the 7th or 8th soul layer. Bai Zimo's face changed. I've walked this road many times. How could there be this many Yin corpses? The Yin corpses were in a deep sleep most of the time. Only under certain circumstances could they awaken en masse. At this moment, in all directions of the 5 of them, there were close to 100 Yin corpses, and each one was not weak. Ao ao. A terrifying roar suddenly came from above them. On the cliff that was around 50 to 60 meters high, there was actually a Yin corpse wearing tattered armor. This Yin corpse was not only strong, the corpse aura around it had already turned a faint black. It was clear that the poison was even stronger. The most terrifying thing was this Yin corpse's hair. Half of it had already turned black. A terrifying existence that had already evolved into a black Yin corpse. In other words, this Yin corpse's strength was very close to an awakened soul cultivator. Because of the Yin corpse's unique advantage, even though it had not reached the awakened soul realm, its strength was already at the first awakened soul layer. This is bad. If it was just 100 normal Yin corpses, with the 5 of them working together, they could still deal with it. But now there was a Yin corpse that was close to the awakened soul realm. How could these few people deal with it? Bai Zimo's eyes flashed. He immediately said, Waste, now is the time for you to show your usefulness. Your defense is strong. You can block it for a while. As long as you attract its attention, I'll kill it. Chu Tian's defense was strong. Could he block the corpse poison? Not to mention, Chu Tian was only at the 8th body refinement layer. This Yin corpse's battle strength was not inferior to an awakened soul realm cultivator. Why would Bai Zimo want Chu Tian to protect him? He just wanted Chu Tian to stall for time. He wanted to take the chance to escape. Chu Tian gave a cold smile in his heart. He suddenly thought of something and said, Don't be anxious. There seems to be another person in our team that hasn't made a move yet. Kai Dai, Xiang Hu, and Di Jian all looked at Bai Zimo. Without a doubt, among the 5 of them, only Bai Zimo, who was at the peak 9th body refinement layer, had the ability to temporarily block this Yin corpse. You guys. Bai Zimo's white face turned red. Chu Tian then said, Our team does not need a person like you to reap without sowing. So please make your move. How familiar was this sentence? Wasn't it just a few minutes ago he had said it to Chu Tian? At this time, the Yin corpse let out an angry roar. From the 10-meter-high cliff, it directly rushed down. This Yin corpse's target was very clear. Bai Zimo's cultivation was the highest. It would attack Bai Zimo first. Damn! Bai Zimo roared. He pulled out the long sword on his back. A beautiful sword glow stabbed at the Yin corpse. Chapter 64. His peak 9th body refinement layer cultivation reached its peak. His spirit energy surged out, condensing into the shape of a white crane. With a leap, a sword glow soared into the sky, splitting the blue dome of heaven. Dang! The Een corpse's claws swept out. The jet-black claws and the sword blade collided. The two surging forces separated. Bai Zimo and the Een corpse were both pushed back several feet. So powerful. They were actually evenly matched. Kai Dai, Xiang Hu, and Di Jian saw a glimmer of hope. Bai Zimo could fight the Een corpse head-on without being at a disadvantage. There was still hope for this battle. As long as Bai Zimo could stall the 100-year Een corpse, the other four could seize the time and clear out the normal Een corpses. The five of them could work together to deal with the 100-year Een corpse. They had a chance of winning. But Bai Zimo did not think like this. Just one exchange. Bai Zimo felt his blood boil. He almost couldn't hold the sword in his hand. The Een corpse's strength far surpassed his imagination. If he stayed behind to block it, there was a risk of losing. Who am I? How could I take a risk for these fellows? This Een corpse was very strong. Bai Zimo did not have the confidence to defeat it. Even if he worked together with the other four and killed it, Bai Zimo would still be injured. His true goal this time was the mysterious ancient sect ruins. Hunting corpse cores, exchanging them for resources, was just something he did in passing. If he was injured for this, it would not be worth it. I have to find a way to escape. The Een corpse charged forward once again. Bai Zimo raised his sword to block it. Borrowing the strong force, he released his white crane source spirit, quickly gliding down, charging at Di Jian. His eyes flashed with a cold glow. You! What are you doing? Di Jian felt the terrifying aura from the other side. He couldn't help revealing a panicked expression. But he did not have time to resist. Bai Zimo grabbed Di Jian's shoulder and threw him behind him. Bai Zimo used Di Jian as a shield and threw him out. Kai Dai and Xiang Hu were both shocked. You beast! You waste holding us back. I won't accompany you. You can play by yourself. Bai Zimo's white crane source spirit had the ability to fly for a short period of time. He instantly flew 100 meters, using his fastest speed to abandon the others. In the blink of an eye he had already escaped. Escaped? He never would have thought. A person could be shameless to this point. Not only did he abandon his companions in danger, he even used his companions' lives to exchange for time to escape. Go and help. Chu Tian flipped over two normal Een corpses blocking his way and charged at Di Jian as fast as he could. It was too late. Di Jian was thrown in front of the 100-year-old Een corpse without any preparation. His cultivation base was not as high as Bai Zimo's and close combat was not Di Jian's strong suit. How could he block it? The first claw. The dagger was sent flying. The second claw, ripping open the chest and abdomen. The third claw, digging straight into the pit of his stomach. Even Chu Tian couldn't stop this series of ferocious attacks in a flash. Ah! Di Jian let out a blood-curdling screech as his bloody body fell to the ground. The surrounding corpses all rushed forward. It was a horrifying scene. Di Jian was dead? A living person had died just like that. The horde of zombies had begun to riot. This time, it was completely over. Chu Tian had no other choice. He could only step forward and block the 100-year-old Een corpse. He was hit in the shoulder by the claw and was knocked back several feet. The starlight surrounding his body was actually torn apart. Such a strong attack power. Chu Tian felt a tearing pain in his shoulder. The 100-year-old Een corpse's strength had actually passed through his body, protecting cultivation technique, and created a wound on his shoulder. Although the wound was not deep, the blood that flowed out had already turned black. It was clear that he had been poisoned. The Een corpses from all directions charged forward. Chu Tian loudly shouted, "Go block the normal Een corpses, I'll deal with this one." Kai Dai and Xiang Hu were both shocked. A trivial 8th body refinement layer brat could actually take a claw from the 100-year-old Een corpse and not die? This was a terrifying monster that was close to an awakened soul realm cultivator. At this time, the Een corpse's monstrous eyes revealed a bloodthirsty look. It opened its mouth full of sharp teeth and spat out a large amount of black fog that instantly enveloped Chu Tian. The two of them looked at each other in amazement. Most of the Een corpse's threat came from the corpse poison. This fog was formed from the intense corpse poison. Even an awakened soul realm cultivator might not be able to withstand it. He was only an 8th body refinement layer cultivator. How could he survive? Chu Tian retreated while taking out a bottle of medicine. Opening the bottle, he drank it on the spot. He felt a cool feeling spread throughout his body, temporarily blocking the corpse poison from entering his body. Chu Tian could not help but rejoice that he had made preparations. Otherwise, with this corpse poison, he really would not be able to fight. Even if it was like this, he did not dare be careless. The Yin corpse's speed was too fast, and its strength was shocking. In a blink of an eye, it had already arrived in front of him. A claw slammed into Chu Tian's chest, only to see the starlight scattering in all directions. Chu Tian was like a cannonball. He flew out of the black fog, his body creating a ditch in the ground. Roar! The Yin corpse turned into a black shadow as it flew out. A foot stepped on Chu Tian, who was on the ground. If the Yin corpse attacked again, Chu Tian's life would be in danger. Break for me! Chu Tian's hands held a spear of light, using all his strength to push the Yin corpse forward. Finally hitting a rock wall, the spear of light stabbed forward, finally piercing through the Yin corpse's body. The terrifying strength created a large hole in the rock behind it. His legs kicked out. Chu Tian pushed it away. The Yin corpse gave a pitiful cry. Its body ignited in flames. In just a short while, this incomparably strong Yin corpse had turned into a motionless burnt corpse. Chu Tian turned back to help Kai Dai and Xiang Hu. In less than 5 minutes, the other Yin corpses had all been swept away. Did we really do this? Kai Dai looked at the Yin corpses on the ground, not daring to believe her eyes. The 3 of them had killed over 100 Yin corpses that were not weak. There was even a powerful existence that had almost evolved into a black-haired corpse monster. Xiang Hu was filled with admiration towards Chu Tian. Brother, are you still human? You're simply a monster. Chu Tian was half dead tired. His body was covered in several wounds. Go collect the corpse cores. There are at least 130 here. Moreover, the quality is very high. Kai Dai and Xiang, who had just escaped death, they still had lingering fears. Hearing Chu Tian say this, the 2 of them revealed a look of joy. That's right. This was a large amount of spoils of war. The 2 of them spent a lot of effort, putting the corpse cores into the bag. Kai Dai weighed the heavy bag, revealing a gratified smile. Our harvest is too big. I estimate that when we reach the camp, we'll have at least 300 corpse cores. Little brother Lu Run. This time it was all thanks to you. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to reach the camp. I'll give you half of my share. Xiang Hu also said, I'll also give you half. Chu Tian was a little surprised. I'm afraid this isn't appropriate. Kai Dai gave a carefree smile and said, the capable get more. It's only natural. You don't have to refuse. Chu Tian's impression of the 2 of them couldn't help but increase. They knew how to repay kindness. At least their character wasn't bad. Chu Tian really needed a lot of corpse cores to exchange for materials, so he was not polite. Hey, you seem to have forgotten about me. When the 3 of them were resting, a cold voice rang out. Bai Zimo. You still have the face to appear. Bai Zimo was wearing a white robe, holding a long sword as he walked over. His eyes swept over the Yin corpses on the ground, looking at the 3 exhausted people. His lips curled into a cold smile. I never thought that you would have some skills. I don't want to waste my breath, just hand over my share. Xiang Hu angrily said, do you still have any face? Bai Zimo directly sent out a sword chi. Xiang Hu hurriedly raised his giant hammer to block. That tyrannical strength forced him back a few steps, blood leaking from the corner of his mouth. I've changed my mind. These corpse cores, I want them all. As for you guys, I think you should stay in this Yin corpse valley forever. Maybe after 10 years, you'll become Yin corpses. Bai Zimo did not want today's matters to be spread out, so he could only silence them by killing them. Kai Dai found it hard to believe. You want to kill us? I'm very sorry, young Miss Kai Dai. I actually quite like you. It's a pity I won't have the chance to do it with you. Bai Zimo's obscene eyes looked over Kai Dai's body, finally falling onto the autumn water like long sword in his hand. This is the autumn water sword, right? This kind of good sword, it's a waste in your hands. Let me display its value. Chu Tian slowly stood up. You seem to be happy too early. Bai Zimo locked onto Chu Tian, his killing intent rising. You talk too much. I'll start with you first. A cold light flashed. The treasure sword stabbed out. A trash like you also wants to kill me. Chu Tian opened his mind's eye, seeing through the enemy's spirit energy flow, including his flaws and weaknesses. With a slight difference, he dodged the dangerous sword wind. He lifted his leg and kicked out, directly in the stomach. Zimo gave a pitiful cry. He was kicked into the opposite giant rock, his body smashing the giant rock into pieces. Zimo spat out several mouthfuls of blood, dyeing his white robe red. His jade crown fell off, his hair was disheveled. He was in a very sorry state. You. How could you? Chu Tian picked up the sword on the ground. Step by step he walked over to Zimo. Zimo fearfully moved back. Wait, I don't want it. I don't want the corpse cores anymore. Chu Tian looked at him with a pitiful gaze. Zimo clenched his fists, revealing a ruthless look. My brother is in the black market camp. If you dare touch a single hair on my head, you're dead. If you dare kill me, I'll exterminate your 3 clans. What a joke. I don't dare kill you. Chu Tian raised his long sword. No. Zimo cried out in despair. A cold light directly cut off his head. Chu Tian stabbed the sword into the ground. The last of his spirit energy was used up. Chu Tian felt dizzy. He quickly took out a recovery medicine from his pocket and drank it. Kai Dai and Xiang Hu looked at each other in blank dismay. You really killed him? Zimo's brother is an awakened soul cultivator. He's very famous in the black market camp. If he dies, I'm afraid. Chu Tian looked at the two of them and said, You're too naive. This fellow betrayed his companion without even blinking an eye. You think that if you let him go, I'll be safe? Since it's like this, it's better to just kill him. The two of them were stunned. That's right. This kind of person with a bad character. If he was left alive, he would be a disaster. Chu Tian rested for a few minutes. There are more and more Yin corpses nearby. Let's go. Today the Yin corpse valley was not normal. Large amounts of sleeping Yin corpses, inexplicably awakened. The number of Yin corpses in the valley had increased. They were also incomparably wild. However, even though there were many Yin corpses, they did not meet any over 100-year-old corpses. Along the way, there was no danger. At dusk, the 3 of them reached their destination. Chu Tian finally saw the legendary black market. Chapter 65. Under the blood-red sunset. A giant pitch-black camp quietly stood there, just like a monster crawling in the depths of a canyon. From the inside to the outside it was filled with a wild and desolate feeling. The black market's walls were made of stone, with a deep trench dug outside, with all kinds of obstacles. There were several hundred black armored warriors holding bows and arrows, meticulously standing on the sentry towers and walls, ready to defend against the Yin corpses at any time. Inside the camp, the stone houses were simple, scattered messily. The ground was made of crushed stones, with trash everywhere. Even the air was filled with a strange smell. The streets were filled with cultivators, all wearing different clothes, coming from different places, even different countries. The black market had no order. There were no laws. It was a true lawless place. The strong preyed on the weak. The strong were respected. Whoever was the strongest was the ruler of the black market. It was because of this, the black market was filled with fights and killings all day long. Because of this, those who dared to enter the black market all had confidence in their own strength. Otherwise, even if they were robbed on the streets, no one would sympathize. They could only blame their bad luck. It was probably because of the Yin corpses' inexplicable riots. Today the black market's atmosphere was especially tense. Many people were discussing this matter. Chu Tian walked around the black market, asking for information, while looking for the Great Zhou country's caravan. Come and see. Come and see. Fox slaves from the southern foreign countries. Their numbers are limited. This is a rare opportunity. Quickly come and see. A short and thin red-haired old man was leading several strong men, selling slaves on the side of the road. Why do these people look like monsters? Kai Dai was shocked on the spot. The red-haired old man was short, only a meter tall, but the strong men beside him were over 2 meters tall. Their bodies were covered in black fur. They looked a bit like bears. The slaves that were pulled out to be sold were even stranger. Almost all of them were female. and each of them had a hot figure. Although most of them had human characteristics, they had furry tails and fox ears. They looked strange and flirtatious, but full of exotic charm. Are these fox slaves authentic? Several merchants curiously gathered around him. You can consider yourself lucky. These fox slaves of mine were all sent from thousands of miles away, and all of them have pure bloodlines. Look at them. They have big breasts and perky buttocks, and they are also flirtatious and wantonly. They are absolutely the best quality sex toys. The red-haired old man pulled out a fox slave and tore off her bra. Try it and see how it feels? The fox clan is naturally lascivious, and these have been tamed. I guarantee that they will serve you until you wish you were dead. The fox slaves also smiled charmingly. It was simply able to hook people's souls. He didn't feel ashamed at all. The red-haired old man continued. Think about it, in places like this, even those big families don't have non-humankind servants, right? If you buy one and bring it back, no matter if it's for your own enjoyment or to serve your guests, it will definitely be enough to give you face. The merchant was tempted. How much? The red-haired old man quickly reported the price. 10 low-grade raw stones for top-grade goods, 5 low-grade raw stones for mid-grade goods, and 3 low-grade raw stones for low-grade goods. This is the first time I've seen a race other than the human race. Kaidai didn't come to the black market to shop. Rather, she came to play and gain experience. The slave traders in the black market had a mind for business. They bought ordinary human slaves from the human countries and sold them to the non-humankind countries. Then they bought non-humankind slaves from the non-humankind countries and sold them to the human countries. The price was over 100 times higher. A normal human female slave without any cultivation base, in the southern Xia slave market, would only be worth a few dozen gold coins. When they were sent to the non-humankind areas, the so-called rare things are expensive. Selling it for 100,000 gold coins wouldn't be too much. The black market was really like the rumors said. There were many things that couldn't be seen in the regular market: foreign race slaves, foreign race weapons, foreign specialties, etc. The continent is vast, there are hundreds of races, there's nothing strange about it. Let's hurry and find the Great Zhou country's caravan. At this time, there were several passers-by talking, which aroused Chu Tian's curiosity. Hey, did you know? The ruins in the valley have been opened again. No wonder there are so many important people coming to the black market. Every time the ruins are open, the yin qi in the valley will increase. You can see the yin corpses awakening outside. It can't be wrong. There have been many important people appearing in the camp recently. If they didn't come to search for treasures, what else could they be doing? I want to go in and try my luck. Don't think about it. Unless you have the ancient tomb token, you can't enter the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb. In the black market people's discussion, there were some secrets being revealed. The Yin Corpse Valley had a very ancient ruins buried. The strange phenomenon in the valley today was most likely due to the change in the ruins' energy, causing the yin qi in the valley to increase, causing the yin corpses to go berserk. This was truly a new matter. 30,000 years later, ancient ruins, secret realms, treasure troves, trial grounds, these kinds of places that could contain hidden inheritances and treasures, had already been completely excavated and no longer existed. Countless things that were unearthed could not be properly protected or passed on, causing many ancient treasures to be lost to later generations. Whenever Chu Tian read the records of the legends, he would always feel his heart skip a beat, wishing he could be born in that era. Now the opportunity had come: legendary treasures, ancient ruins, secret realms and trial grounds. The continent was filled with them. There were many that hadn't been discovered yet. The old civilization, and even the even more ancient Great Ancient Era. That was a history that was over 100 times longer than humanity. In these tens of thousands of years, humanity's level could advance by leaps and bounds. A large part of it was because of the wisdom of their predecessors. There were several epic-level treasure troves that were even recorded in the country's history books. Those hidden treasures that hadn't been excavated. Sooner or later they would have a chance, but now was not the time. The ruins in the Yin Corpse Valley were not some great treasures that could change humanity's history, but as the ruins of an ancient sect, it was still worth exploring. Chu Tian's current cultivation was still weak. He should be able to find many useful things. Only how should he go? While Chu Tian was thinking, Xiang Hu excitedly ran over and shouted, found it, the Great Zhou country's caravan is here. Finally found it. The black market planning was too disgusting. It was simply like a maze. It could make people dizzy. The Great Zhou country's caravan was stationed in a large house. The outside was filled with black flags. The gatekeepers were all wearing black clothes, wearing ghost masks, giving off a gloomy feeling. It was most likely because they practiced some kind of evil cultivation technique. There were people from all over the world in the black market. So when these strange people appeared, the three of them weren't surprised. This time they harvested a total of 360 corpse cores, 60 low-grade ones, 200 middle-grade ones, 50-60 high-grade ones, and 1 top-grade one. Because Chu Tian had put in the most effort, he took 3/4. The other two divided it equally. Even so, the amount was not small. The two of them were very happy. After waiting for a moment, an old man wearing a fierce bronze ghost mask and holding an iron staff walked over. His body was stooped, he coughed twice, his voice was hoarse. What do you want to trade for? Xiang Hu excitedly said. I want to trade for a weapon. The man with the bronze ghost mask opened the bag to take a look. He nodded with satisfaction. The first room on the left. You can choose a middle-grade spirit-level weapon. The continent's equipment was divided into levels. Although the spirit weapon was the lowest level, it was still a level 1 refining material. It was refined by a refiner. It was supported by an array. Its power was amazing. A normal weapon could not compare to 1/10 of a spirit weapon. After a while, Xiang Hu excitedly ran out. His hands were carrying a wheel-sized giant axe. It was jet black. Its body was shining. It released a strong fluctuation. Ha ha ha! Several dozen corpse cores for a spirit weapon worth over 10,000 gold coins. This is too cool. With this weapon in my hand, my strength will at least double. The bronze-masked old man's eyes flashed a trace of disdain. A small country rogue cultivator, he had never seen the world. A mediocre spirit weapon. The Great Zhou country's streets were full of them. Chu Tian asked Kai Dai, what do you want to trade for? Kai Dai revealed a trace of confusion. Her autumn water sword was a high-grade spirit weapon. She didn't lack cultivation techniques. She didn't know what to trade for. Finally she said, I'll trade for a pill. The bronze-masked old man lightly said, the second room on the right, choose for yourself. Kai Dai came out after a while. Her hands were holding a porcelain bottle. Her face was filled with joy as she said, there's actually a beauty pill here. This treasure can't even be bought in Central State City. The beauty pill had no effect on one's cultivation. This was a pure beauty pill. Xiang Hu was stunned on the spot. Risking your life to kill the Ying corpses. In the end you trade for a beauty pill. Kai Dai's face turned red as she said, so what? To a woman, appearance is very important. Chu Tian was also a bit speechless. But he wasn't surprised at all. Kai Dai's identity was a mystery. Not only did she know how to disguise herself, she also had a high-grade spirit weapon. She didn't seem to lack money or cultivation techniques. Could it be that she was the daughter of a large family, looking for excitement? She secretly ran out to play an adventure game? Although it was hard to understand, it wasn't impossible. This kind of person's thoughts were different from normal people. Chu Tian gave the corpse core to the old man. I want to trade for materials. The bronze-masked old man opened the bag to take a look. His eyes flashed a few times. He took out a pill from inside. Carefully looking at it, it was the one he had obtained from the 100-year-old corpse. The quality isn't bad. Come with me. The bronze-masked old man personally brought Chu Tian. They walked into the first room on the right. There were a total of 500-600 crystal jars, neatly placed inside. Each jar had an array engraved on it, preventing the aura of the elixirs from leaking out. Inside the jars were elixirs glowing very tempting. Chu Tian was shocked, because in the room, there were elixirs that had been growing for hundreds of years. There were even some that were close to 1,000 years old. Normal herbs that had been growing for 1,000 years would become top-quality medicines. In the era that Chu Tian lived in, the continent's population was 100 times that of now. in the developed area of the continent, it was hard to find a 1,000-year-old elixir. An ordinary Great Zhou country caravan, running to a small country to do business. There were several hundred of them. How could he not be shocked? It could only be said, in this era, the treasures were not worth much. Chu Tian's eyes were attracted to the several jars in the center of the table. This was clearly the entire room. The most valuable elixirs. There were 3 purple fruits, the size of a fist, shaped like a baby, faintly letting out a cry. It was very different from the others. Chu Tian's body trembled. It's the infant soul fruit. The bronze-masked old man was a little surprised. In a small country like yours, there are people that can recognize this material. Chu Tian was a little excited. Even if he didn't buy anything, just a single infant soul fruit, coming to the black market was not a waste. This thing was a great help to Chu Tian. Although Chu Tian's performance was very careful, but in fact Chu Tian was a little weak, because after these days of cultivation, Chu Tian found out that breaking through to the awakened soul realm was not as easy as he imagined, because this place was too lacking in resources. Chu Tian didn't have much time left. If he couldn't break through to the awakened soul realm, the consequences would be unimaginable. With the appearance of this item, it had solved his urgent problem. Actually, not only did equipment have levels, materials also had strict levels and quality levels. Levels were usually determined by their own species. The quality of the material was not only affected by the quality, but also by the age of the material. From low to high there were herbs, elixirs, sacred herbs, immortal herbs, and godly herbs. A normal herb would become an elixir after a few hundred to 1,000 years. If it grew for over 10,000 years, a normal herb could become a sacred herb. As for immortal herbs and godly herbs, it was greatly affected by the species. If it was a normal herb, it would not be able to evolve to this level no matter how many years it took. No matter how the herb evolved, how its quality increased, its level would not change, unless the herb evolved and became a completely different kind of herb. The materials here were mostly level 1 elixirs. Only the infant soul fruit was a level 2 elixir. Even if they both grew for several hundred years, the value of a level 2 elixir was several times higher than a level 1 elixir. Level 1 elixirs were mostly used by body refinement cultivators. Level 2 elixirs were mostly used by awakened soul cultivators. Including this infant soul fruit, the value of these level 2 elixirs far exceeded any of the other herbs in the room. Chapter 66. Chu Tian's gaze stayed on the infant soul fruit for a long time. How could the bronze-masked old man not see what he was thinking? The infant soul fruit is the main ingredient for the awakened soul pill. The price of the awakened soul pill is extremely expensive. If someone at the peak of the 9th body refinement layer takes it, their chances of breaking through to the next realm will increase by around 30%. 30%? So low. That was because his alchemy skills were not good enough. With Chu Tian personally refining the awakened soul pill, he was confident that the success rate would increase by at least 80%. As long as he reached the peak of the 9th body refinement layer, with the help of this infant soul pill, he would be able to directly break through to the awakened soul realm and join the ranks of the strongest in the Central State County. It was such a great temptation. How could he not be tempted? Chu Tian knew his own limits. How precious was the infant soul fruit? How could the few corpse cores he collected in one day be exchanged for a level 2 spiritual medicine? If elixirs were that easy to exchange, awakened soul cultivators would have participated, and the Great Zhou country's caravan would have already been sold. How could it be their turn? Chu Tian asked in a probing manner. What about the infant soul fruit? The infant soul fruit is one of the few items with the highest value among the materials brought out by the merchants this time. The bronze-masked old man took out a top-quality corpse core from his bag. It was the live ammunition that Chu Tian had obtained from killing the 100-year-old corpses. If you can collect 100 corpse cores of this quality, or a 1,000-year-old corpse monster corpse core, I can consider giving you 100 best-grade corpse cores, or a 1,000-year-old corpse core. Wasn't this a joke? This was practically extortion. Not to mention the difficulty of killing 100-year-old corpses. Where would he find 20 of these corpses in such a short amount of time? As for the corpse core of the 1,000-year corpse demon, there was no need to even think about it. If a 1,000-year corpse demon appeared in the Chill Wind Canyon, perhaps the entire black market would have already been finished. Even the nearby cities, and even the main cities, would be affected. Was the 1,000-year corpse demon so easy to deal with? Although a level 2 rare spirit herb was valuable, asking for a corpse demon's corpse core was a little too much. Chu Tian did not want to give up. Once he missed this opportunity, he might not have it again. I can't take out other corpse cores, but I can add 500,000 gold coins to buy an infant soul fruit. Humph. The bronze-masked old man coldly snorted. Chu Tian felt a chill in his heart. An invisible pressure instantly enveloped his body. The bronze-masked old man was clearly unhappy. A small country's low-class currency. Do you think our great Zhou country's caravan will accept it? Don't waste my time. Choose quickly. As expected, Chu Tian's starting bid was 500,000 gold coins. If it was anyone else, they would be shocked. Level 2 elixirs were very precious. 500,000 gold coins was definitely enough. But this bronze-masked old man from the great Zhou country was not interested at all. Instead, he was a bit impatient. Helpless. The bronze-masked old man's cultivation was not much weaker than Nangong Yi's. Chu Tian couldn't force him to buy or sell, right? If he accidentally angered him, he wouldn't have a good ending. Then, let's exchange it for a source spirit fruit. The bronze-masked old man's figure flashed. Chu Tian didn't even see it clearly. The crystal jar fell into his palm. A hoarse voice sounded in his ear. You can leave now. Chu Tian reluctantly looked at the dozens of materials on the table. Other than the precious infant soul fruit, the other materials were also very precious. They were all over 1,000 years old. Chu Tian gave a soft sigh. He left in a depressed manner. Kai Dai saw Chu Tian walk out. You want to exchange it for a source spirit fruit? Chu Tian was curious. What? You recognize this material? Kai Dai casually said. I've eaten a lot of them, but they don't taste good at all. The source spirit fruit was an elixir that could directly increase one's cultivation. If it appeared in the Central State Auction House, it could be sold for at least 30 to 50,000 gold coins. How could Kai Dai eat it as a snack? Even if the source spirit fruit was not used as medicine, directly eating it would still increase one's cultivation. Kai Dai's cultivation was not high. Why was that? Chu Tian secretly opened his mind's eye, looking at Kai Dai. Kai Dai's body indeed had a large amount of spiritual energy. It was clear she had eaten large amounts of heaven and earth treasures since she was young. It was reasonable to say that her cultivation should not be like this. Chu Tian carefully observed. He immediately found the problem. Kai Dai had a natural defect. Her meridians were blocked. Her acupuncture points were blocked. She could not absorb spiritual energy. A person with this kind of physique, it was reasonable to say that it was not worth raising, because the resources spent on Kai Dai, it was enough to raise several awakened soul cultivators. Even so, Kai Dai still obtained a large amount of resources, forcibly raising her cultivation to the 9th body refinement layer. This was enough to show that her family was very strong. Kai Dai was also deeply doted on by her father. Her background was not simple. Kai Dai's face turned red. What are you staring at me for? Is there something strange on my face? Nothing. Chu Tian did not have any interest in digging up Kai Dai's identity. I plan on using the source spirit fruit to refine pills. I'm currently lacking a few supplementary materials. The black market does not seem to accept gold coins. I plan on exchanging them for source stones. Do you know where I can exchange them? Gold coins were a low-level currency used in small countries. Source stones were a kind of source energy crystal, widely used in cultivation, weapon refining, and alchemy. It was recognized as a hard currency by most places on the continent. The price of source stones is very expensive. The exchange rate of low-grade source stones to gold coins is around 10,000. 1. The source stone merchants in the black market are very black-hearted. They even raise the price of source stones by several times. Exchanging for source stones here is too much of a loss. Chu Tian knit his brows. But this place only accepts source stones. No need to worry. I'll lend you 10 low-grade source stones first. Kai-Dai dug into her pocket, taking out a sparkling crystal stone. Take it. 10 low-grade source stones was equivalent to 100,000 gold coins, or even more. This prodigal woman did not even blink, giving it away. Chu Tian asked with a strange expression. You're so straightforward. Aren't you afraid I won't pay you back? Kai-Dai gave a free and easy smile. You're not that kind of person. Moreover, you saved my life. So what if I give you some source stones? You don't need to be polite, just take it. Chu Tian found that he could not see through this woman more and more. You clearly don't lack anything. Why did you come to a dangerous place like the Een Corpse Valley? Kai-Dai's brows knit together, revealing a melancholy expression. She only sighed, but did not answer. Kai-Dai did not seem to be a rich family's young miss looking for excitement. She left her family and ran here. Most likely she had some difficulties. She did not want to say it. Chu Tian was also too lazy to ask. I never like to take advantage of people. Chu Tian took out 10 crystal cards. Each one here has 10,000 gold coins, take it. I really couldn't see it. Kai-Dai curiously looked at the seemingly ordinary youth in front of her. You're also deeply hidden. 100,000 gold coins was not a small number. A person that could easily take out this much money. He must not be a simple person. Chu Tian received the source stones. It was much easier to buy things. In the shortest time, he could buy all the materials he needed, spending a total of 3 low-grade source stones. The things in the black market, although the price was high, the quality was not bad. Chu Tian rented a room. First, he arranged a simple array in the room to prevent his aura from leaking out while he was in seclusion. Then, he set up the pill furnace and used the source spirit fruit as the main ingredient to refine a source spirit pill. The source spirit pill was a very strong pill. It was enough to make a breakthrough to the peak 8th body refinement layer. The moment Chu Tian swallowed the source spirit pill, his spirit energy surged out, instantly covering his whole body. He felt like he was thrown into a furnace. The white spirit energy flowed around his body. It was like a white flame was burning. When Chu Tian absorbed the source spirit pill, he could clearly feel that his strength had greatly increased, very easily stepping into the 9th body refinement layer, the same as Kai-Dai, Xianghu, and the others. At this time, from the depths of his soul, he suddenly felt a throbbing. This feeling was very subtle, like a breath, like a pulse, like a new life was being born in the placenta of his soul, finally gradually awakening. What's going on? Isn't the birth of a source spirit at the peak 9th body refinement layer? Why do I have this kind of feeling when I just stepped into the 9th body refinement layer? This kind of feeling was very strange, like an ancient power, calling out to him. Chu Tian was not unfamiliar with it. His source spirit was about to be born. At this time, an intense pain erupted from the depths of his soul, like a volcano that had been gestating for thousands of years suddenly erupting. The soul was like a mother's placenta. The source spirit was the fetus that was being bred. The birth of a source spirit was like the birth of a fetus. It was extremely painful. If one didn't personally experience it, there would be no words to describe it. This kind of pain surpassed any senses. It was a kind of soul-breaking pain. Fuck. Why is it so painful? Father's previous life wasn't like this. Chu Tian clenched his teeth. His forehead was already covered in sweat. The birth of a source spirit. Unexpectedly, it was so difficult. It was simply like a mother's dystocia. Once the birth of a source spirit failed, the opportunity to break through would be lost. Even if there was a second breakthrough in the future, the potential of the source spirit would be greatly reduced. He had to endure it. If he couldn't even endure this little bit of suffering, then how could he talk about pursuing his dreams? How could he talk about achieving his ambitions? Breaking through the barrier of life. The difficulty would be thousands of times more difficult than this. There was no reason for Chu Tian to fall here. Release. Erupt. Be born. Chu Tian gave a low roar. A large amount of ancient runes appeared around his body. It was like an ancient demon god imprint. It was filled with an ancient and powerful aura. A surging aura condensed in his body. Countless runes also gathered together. This aura was already unstoppable. That incomparably terrifying aura mightily surged out, spreading out for thousands of miles. In an instant, Rays of light shot out. Above Chu Tian's body, two vague illusions appeared. One of them was the vague image of a demon god. The other was a pitch-black ancient demon sword. The moment Chu Tian's source spirit was born, the entire world underwent a shocking change. The entire southern Xia, even the entire continent, was shocked by this inconceivable aura. Chapter 67. Dark clouds covered the Ying Corpse Canyon. Wild winds blew, lightning flashed and thunder roared. A chilling killing intent filled the entire world, as if an ancient spiritual god was about to descend. Hong hong hong. The earth violently shook. The entire black market was covered in a strong pressure. The bronze-masked old man in the small courtyard looked up at the sky, his face filled with shock as he shouted, "What is going on? Southern Xia is a trivial small country, this strength is." In the center of the camp, a gray-haired middle-aged man carrying a sword on his back opened his eyes in surprise. This ancient aura is. Could it be that some old monster from the Ying Corpse tomb has awakened? No. Impossible. Even if it's those old monsters, they can't release such a strong aura. Lightning filled the sky. The earthquakes continued. The mountain peaks on both sides of the canyon were constantly being shaken. Countless boulders fell down. Countless wandering Ying corpses, as if they had met their mortal enemy, they all fell to the ground, shivering in fear. Everyone was shocked when they saw this scene. Ying corpses did not have any intelligence. They were monsters that relied purely on instinct. Just what kind of existence could make the Ying corpses act like this? This was just the beginning. That vast divine might suddenly soared into the sky, as if it wanted to pierce through the heavens, into the endless starry sky. Imperial City. A man wearing a yellow robe opened his eyes, looking in the direction of the Central State County. There is a phenomenon in the sky. Something incredible has appeared. A certain sect. An old man that was in seclusion suddenly trembled. A trace of blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. This ancient pressure. Just what is it? Inside an ancient palace, a purple-robed figure like a demon god was floating in the air. His body was surrounded by 9 majestic golden dragons. When he felt this pressure, his face twisted, as if he could not resist it. No, this is not right. This power should not appear in this time and space. Just what kind of monster is this? Southern Continent, Elven Forest. A beautiful elven king looked up at the sky. His eyes were as bright as the sun and moon. In the human territory? The human race is flourishing. It seems like another terrifying person will appear. In the endless void, a giant ship made of bones was slowly moving forward. This giant ship was incomparably large. It was comparable to a kingdom. Countless powerful beings were prostrating on the ground, worshipping a monarch who stood in the shadows. Suddenly, the Shadow King opened his eyes. His gaze seemed to be able to pierce through time and space, grasping the entire world within. This inheritance seems to have appeared too early. Fate has already been disturbed. The moment his source spirit was born, the whole world was shaken. In just a few minutes, the phenomenon disappeared without a trace. Chu Tian had no idea how big of a sensation he had brought to the world. When everything was over, he lay on the floor, soaked in sweat, as if he had just been fished out of the water. It's actually dual source spirits. Chu Tian awakened 2 source spirits this time. The first source spirit looked very strange. From the outline, it was a pitch-black humanoid shape that released an ancient and mysterious aura. It was his source spirit. Although he had transmigrated, his soul remained intact. Chu Tian still had the power of his previous life source spirit. That was great. What Chu Tian never thought was that other than his source spirit awakening, he would also obtain a supplementary source spirit. It looked like a blurry treasure sword. This sword was pitch black, and there were faint profound runes on it. It was probably because of the main source spirit's influence. This supplementary source spirit also had an ancient aura to it. It was like the great ancient era. When chaos began, the heaven and earth gave birth to a demon god sword. Demon god sword. I'll call this source spirit this name. It wasn't that there weren't people with dual source spirits on the continent, but they were very, very rare. Chu Tian had coincidentally obtained this body. Under the control of a single consciousness, it had 2 souls, so it gave birth to two source spirits. Central State's Chu family was famous for their sword spirits. Chu Tian's body came from the Chu family, so he had the bloodline of the Chu family. It wasn't strange for his second source spirit to be a sword. Only this sword spirit had been affected by the main source spirit, and its nature had greatly changed. The quality of the source spirit surpassed that of any member of the Chu family. It was comparable to Nangong Yun's god-level Fire Phoenix source spirit. A supplementary source spirit was already this strong. How strong would the main source spirit be? Chu Tian had relied on his blessed source spirit in the past, so in a short period of time, he had become the youngest great sage on the continent. But because the main source spirit was too shocking, in order to not cause trouble, the main source spirit had to be hidden as much as possible. Now that he had a second source spirit to support him, as long as Chu Tian didn't deliberately use it, no one would be able to see what his source spirit was. A sword spirit couldn't avoid the path of a sword cultivator. Chu Tian needed to find a good sword, and also needed a good sword art. A sword was easy to find, but a sword art was hard. Chu Tian didn't use a sword before, so he wasn't interested in cultivation techniques. So he couldn't bring back a suitable cultivation technique from the future. He could only slowly search for it in this era. After a full day of rest, his strength had recovered a bit. Something bad has happened. Kai Dai anxiously rushed in. Quickly run. What happened? Kai Dai explained. Bai Zimo's body was found by his brother in Xiang, who was taken away. If you don't run now, it'll be too late. Chu Tian was stunned. What will you guys do? Kai Dai shook her head and said, I'm fine, there are many people in the camp. If I bring out my family, they won't dare make a move against me in front of everyone. Quickly run. I'll think of a way to save Xiang Hu. He was killed by me. He should find me for revenge. Don't implicate Xiang Hu in you. You're crazy. Bai Zilong is only at the first awakened soul layer. First awakened soul layer? This was a bit troublesome, but with his current strength, he didn't need to fear him. I'll go take a look. Chu Tian ignored Kai Dai's obstruction and went to the center of the black market. A tall and sturdy man was hung up. His hands and feet were broken. His body was covered in blood, looking miserable. Xiang Hu's eyes widened as he angrily roared. He was killed by me. By Zimo, that villain. So what if father killed him? Pa! A whip lashed out. A piece of Xiang Hu's flesh was ripped off. A 30-year-old youth coldly said, Do you think I'm an idiot? With your trash strength, you think you can kill Bai Zimo? This is simply a joke. Just who did it? Quickly say it. Otherwise I'll cripple your cultivation. Cripple his cultivation? Everyone's face changed. For cultivators, cultivation was simply the root of their lives. If their cultivation was crippled, then there was no meaning in living. Xiang Hu secretly thought that he would not be able to escape today. He gritted his teeth and said, I will take responsibility for my own actions. It was done by me. Good. You're just being stubborn. When Bai Zilong was about to send out a palm. Stop. A normal-looking youth walked out. Xiang Hu's face changed. You. Who are you? I don't know you. Even if father dies, I will still be a man of indomitable spirit. Stop making fun of father. Quickly scram. Scram. Bai Zilong was not stupid. He coldly stared at Chu Tian. Who are you? Chu Tian did not waste any words. Bai Zimo was killed by me. Bai Zilong's face changed. What? You killed him? That's right. It was me. Chu Tian laughed and said, Killed with one slash, like slaughtering a pig or a dog. Killed with one slash, like slaughtering a pig or a dog. What kind of disdain and insult was this? Once these words were said, Bai Zilong's face turned red. With a clear eagle cry, the white eagle source spirit appeared, directly sending out two white chi blades, seeking death. Chu Tian's entire body was covered in starlight. Pung pung. Chu Tian was knocked back a few steps, his brows knit together as he rubbed his chest. Looking at the blood on his palm, he shook his head and said, It hurts a lot. My defense isn't strong enough. Everyone had an expression like they had seen a ghost. Fuck, this isn't considered strong. Bai Zilong is an awakened soul cultivator. You're at most in the 9th body refinement layer. Taking 2 attacks from an awakened soul cultivator, And you're not heavily injured. What else do you want? Bai Zilong grinned. Good, good, good. You really have the ability to kill my little brother. Xiang Hu and Kai Dai were both shocked. How did Chu Tian's strength become this strong? Bai Zilong's 2 attacks were much stronger than the 100-year-old corpse. He was a genuine awakened soul cultivator. I've been looking for you everywhere. Bai Zilong's voice was cold to the bone. I never thought that you would take the initiative to deliver yourself to me. If I don't cut you into 1,000 pieces today, I won't be able to resolve the hatred in my heart. There have been many people who have said similar things recently. I'm still alive today. Chu Tian's face was filled with disdain as he said, I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Die! Bai Zilong soared into the air, just like an eagle. With a terrifying momentum, he suddenly swooped down. His hands turned into giant eagle claws. With a terrifying momentum he charged at Chu Tian. Mind's eye, glass body. Chu Tian directly displayed his strongest battle state. I'll break your arms first. Bai Zilong's claws heavily fell on Chu Tian's shoulders. The starlight condensed white glass armor instantly shattered like fragile glass. It had to be said. Bai Zilong was really strong. Chu Tian's strength had increased by a layer, and his spirit energy had increased by several folds. The Starlight Immortal Body's defensive power had also increased by several folds. There was no method under the Awakened Soul realm that could break through Chu Tian's defense. He never thought that it would be easily torn apart by Bai Zilong. The Awakened Soul realm was really strong. Scram! With the help of his mind's eye, Chu Tian grasped the weakness of Bai Zilong's protective spirit energy. The moment his right fist punched out, Chu Tian released the power of his source spirit. A black sword image came out from his fist, fiercely stabbing into Bai Zilong's body, coming out from his back. Poochie! Blood sprayed out. Bai Zilong was pierced on the spot. Chu Tian sent Bai Zilong flying with a kick. Bai Zilong revealed a look of disbelief, spitting out several mouthfuls of blood, spitting out pieces of his organs. Finally he powerlessly fell to the ground, dead. One move to kill an awakened soul realm cultivator. Chu Tian did not have it easy. Both of his shoulders had deep wounds. He only used one move on the surface, but it was actually his strongest move. It was also based on Bai Zilong underestimating him. If he did not kill Bai Zilong in one move, Chu Tian would have faced the danger of being defeated. Bai Zilong was a genius. Perhaps he was stronger than a normal first awakened soul layer cultivator. Kai Dai's bright eyes turned round. She couldn't help covering her mouth. She had already guessed that Chu Tian was strong, but she never thought that he would be able to kill an awakened soul cultivator. Bai Zilong was killed like this? The surrounding black market staff were all shocked. Bai Zilong had been in the black market for a while. He was still a character. He unexpectedly died like this. Chu Tian searched the body. He found 3 low-grade source stones, several gold coin cards, and a strange jade token. There were several complex origin energy arrays embedded in this token, and there was a faint fluctuation of restriction coming from them. What is this? Chu Tian did not think too much about it. He casually put it into his chest. Xiang Hu's injuries were too heavy. He had already fainted. Chu Tian quickly said to Kai Dai, "Quickly save him." The two of them carried Xiang Hu into the room. Chu Tian carefully examined Xiang Hu's body. Xiang Hu's bones and meridians were all heavily injured. His injuries were very serious. If it was not treated properly, there would be serious repercussions. Bai Zilong was really ruthless. Chu Tian spent a few source stones. He bought some herbs for Xiang Hu, refining several medicines. This stabilized Xiang Hu's injuries. His life was temporarily not in danger. But because his injuries were too heavy, he still needed to rest for 10 days. At this time a strong aura came. A low voice came from outside the door. "Little friend, can you come out and talk?" Kai Dai felt this voice was very familiar. She remembered. It's the great Zhou country's bronze-masked old man. What is he doing here? Chapter 68. The bronze-masked old man's cultivation was very deep. Even compared to Nangong Yi, it was not much worse. Chu Tian defeating Bai Zilong, there was a certain element of luck. If it was an awakened soul cultivator like the bronze-masked old man, he wouldn't even have a chance of winning. The bronze-masked old man came to visit for no reason. They had no choice but to be on guard. But thinking about it, the bronze-masked old man was very strong. If he really wanted to make a move against him, there wouldn't be many people in the black market camp that could stop him. So why bother with this nonsense? When the two of them opened the door, the bronze-masked old man was standing in the courtyard. His body was stooped. He held an iron staff in his hand. He looked ordinary, but he gave off an unfathomable feeling. The bronze-masked old man's eyes flashed with a bright light. Ninth body refinement layer, but able to kill an awakened soul cultivator. This is an extremely rare case in the Great Zhou country. This old man was neglectful a few days ago. Please do not take it to heart. Senior, you're exaggerating. What can I do for you? I don't dare to teach you anything. I just feel that it's a pity for you to stay in southern Xia. Why don't you go to the Dazhou Nation? I'll recommend you to join the Dazhou Nation. With your talent, I'll definitely nurture you to the best of my abilities. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. Chu Tian frowned and refused tactfully. But I have many worries in the secular world. If I leave rashly, it will affect my mental state and cause my cultivation to be obstructed. The bronze-masked old man was an external affairs elder. He was only responsible for traveling and managing the sex business. These words were just a casual remark. There wasn't much sincerity. All right, everyone has their own ambitions. I won't force you. The bronze-masked old man's tone changed. After the polite words were said, he began to reveal his true purpose. But this old man wants to invite you to participate in an operation. I wonder if you are interested. What operation? Thousand Corpses Ancient Tomb. Chu Tian had heard some related rumors when he arrived at the black market. There used to be a powerful sect here. They awakened the Ying corpses and formed a Ying corpse army, once ruling over an area. A few thousand years ago, the sect suffered a drastic change and suddenly collapsed. However, the place where the corpses were raised and refined was left behind. It was most likely the 10,000 Corpses Ancient Tomb. This old man isn't trying to harm me, right? It was an ancient tomb that had been sealed for thousands of years. Who knew what kind of terrifying existence was sleeping there? It wouldn't be strange if he encountered a 1,000-year corpse demon. The bronze-masked old man guessed Chu Tian's concerns. The 10,000 corpse tomb is a forbidden area of the ancient sects. In order to prevent the Ying corpses from rebelling, there is always an array suppressing it. No matter how old the Ying corpses are, as long as they are in the ancient tomb, their battle strength will be suppressed to below the awakened soul realm. You don't need to worry about meeting an existence you cannot defeat. Chu Tian was still a little suspicious. He was not a man who trusted others easily. After all, Chu Tian was not an ordinary young man. He knew very well that a person's heart was sinister, so he had to be on his guard. Kai Dai quietly said, I've heard that the ancient tomb's restrictions are very strong. Not only will the Ying corpses be suppressed, but all the cultivators that enter the ancient tomb will be suppressed. All of them will be suppressed to below the awakened soul realm. Therefore, in the ancient tomb, one can only display the strength of the body refinement realm. Really? This was getting interesting. Chu Tian stroked his chin, not in a hurry to make a decision. Under the restrictions of the ancient tomb, it was useless no matter how strong one was. As long as one entered the ancient tomb, one's combat strength would be suppressed to the body refinement realm. For a cultivator like Chu Tian, who could jump ranks to fight, he could take advantage of the ancient tomb, even if it was an awakened soul realm cultivator from the outside world. In the ancient tomb, they could not use their source spirit. Most of them would not be able to defeat Chu Tian. Chu Tian asked, What do you want me to do? Cooperation. The bronze-masked old man replied, I want something from the ancient tomb. As long as you help me get this thing, you can ask for any conditions. Chu Tian asked, What do you want? The bronze-masked old man's eyes flashed. A corpse king corpse core. Chu Tian sucked in a cold breath. A corpse king needed at least several thousand years to form. If a corpse king was released to the outside world, it was enough to sweep away any awakened soul cultivator. The bronze-masked old man had a big tone. He actually wanted to enter the ancient tomb to kill a corpse king. The bronze-masked old man said, Even if it is a corpse king, sealed in the ancient tomb. Its strength is suppressed to the awakened soul realm. However, the Corpse King's background is deep. Even if it is sealed, it is not easy to deal with. Your strength is enough to deal with an awakened soul realm cultivator. The people I brought are all geniuses that can jump ranks to fight. If we work together, I think it should be enough. Chu Tian began to weigh the risks. The Corpse King was not easy to deal with. This level of monster, it already had intelligence. It could cultivate an evil cultivation technique. Even if it was sealed, Chu Tian did not have the confidence to win. How can I trust you? I am a cultivator. I am also a merchant. This is not my first time coming to southern Xia. It will not be my last. The bronze-masked old man said with a serious face. My reputation has been built up over many years. I do not need to lie to you. Reputation? Pay. If father believed in a thing like reputation, it would be better to believe that the prostitutes in the brothel were all virgins. The bronze-masked old man saw Chu Tian hesitate. He immediately increased his bargaining chip. Whether it is done or not, I can give you an infant soul fruit. The infant soul fruit was something he urgently needed. The bronze-masked old man's condition, Chu Tian could not help but be moved. One infant soul fruit is not enough. I want all three. All right, Chu Tian continued to say to the bronze-masked old man. Everything in the ancient tomb. I want to take half. The bronze-masked old man's eyes changed. Don't you think you're taking too much? Chu Tian lightly said. Capable people do more work. It's a matter of heaven and earth. I don't think that under the awakened soul realm, you can beat me. Such a bold brat. How many years has it been since someone dared speak to me like this? Although Chu Tian wanted a lot, the more it was like this, the more the bronze-masked old man could feel Chu Tian's confidence. Now the sect master urgently needed the Corpse King Corpse Core to break through his bottleneck. If he could obtain the Corpse King Corpse Core this time, it would undoubtedly be a great contribution to the sect. Other harvests? It was not that important. The bronze-masked old man thought about it for a few minutes before giving his reply. All right, we'll split the spoils in half. The bronze-masked old man's background was unknown, but Chu Tian did not want to miss a good opportunity. The bronze-masked old man took out a token from his chest. You've already obtained Bai Zilong's ancient tomb token. I have another token. This time, you can bring one more person. You can choose for yourself. I don't know anyone here. I'll give this token to you. Chu Tian gave the token to Kai Dai. That place is very dangerous. You have to think about it yourself. I'll go. Of course I'll go. Kai Dai never thought she would have the chance to go on an adventure. She was a person with an adventurous spirit. She didn't even think about it before agreeing. Chu Tian chose an average strength companion. The bronze-masked old man couldn't help feeling disappointed. But he didn't say anything. After all, the token was given to Chu Tian. He could bring whoever he wanted. Yesterday the heaven and earth phenomenon shook the canyon seal. This caused the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb to open ahead of time. This matter cannot be delayed. We need to prepare a bit, and then immediately set off, to avoid others beating us to it. Good. The 10,000 corpse ancient tomb had an unknown amount of history. The ancient sect was destroyed several thousand years ago. The ancient tomb had at least several thousand years of history. This was a forbidden area of the sect. Most likely there were many treasures buried here. Chu Tian was not a person who was afraid of challenges, not to mention this kind of high-reward adventure. Because the ancient tomb opened ahead of time, there was no time to prepare. Chu Tian and Kai Dai took care of the seriously injured Xiang Hu. They immediately went to meet up with the bronze-masked old man. The bronze-masked old man brought two subordinates. The two of them were very tall, wearing tight robes. They also wore masks. One of them had a flame mask, the other had an ice mask. This is called Flame Ghost. This is called Ice Demon. The two of them are twin brothers. They are the juniors that the sect is focusing on. This time they came out to temper themselves. The bronze-masked old man introduced the two of them. Chu Tian could feel that the two of them had strong auras. They were both first awakened soul layer cultivators. Their battle strength should be similar to Bai Zilong's. Although he couldn't see their appearances with their masks, they didn't seem too old. Truly worthy of being a great Zhou country sect. The two juniors were both awakened soul cultivators. The Flame Ghost brothers didn't seem to like talking, they just lightly looked at Chu Tian. Although Chu Tian's cultivation base wasn't high, but the matter of him killing Bai Zilong, the two of them had heard of him, so they didn't dare look down on him. Let's go. The five of them left the camp. On the way, they met countless corpses. There were several 100-year-old corpses, but with a super expert like the bronze-masked old man, as well as Flame Ghost and Ice Demon. These corpses weren't a threat at all. They were taken care of in 2-3 moves. The five of them arrived at the ruins of the ancient sect. This is where the sect used to be. Kai Dai was very curious as she looked around. Truly spectacular. Before this sect was destroyed, it must have been very strong. A deep depression, yin qi filled the air. It was incomparably oppressive. The ground was filled with broken walls. There were several 100-meter-tall cliffs on the left and right. There were giant caves densely packed. There were several thousand of them. They were spread out over several dozen miles. Every cave had a hideous demon statue. Several thousand cave statues, not a single one was the same. Each statue was 100 meters tall. They looked majestic and evil, making people feel oppressed. A giant palace silently stood in the depths of the ruins. Half of the palace was outside. The other half was buried in the mountain. It was surrounded by an evil fog, filled with an evil and death aura. So. Countless cultivators rushed over, jumping into the palace. This was obviously the entrance to the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb. The bronze-masked old man brought the four of them into the palace. The main hall was very spacious. In the center there was a 100-meter-tall demon statue. The demon statue looked very fierce. Not only was it ugly, it also had 8 arms. Around 100 cultivators had arrived. They were scattered around the statue, sitting on the pillars, silently waiting for the ancient tomb to open. The bronze-masked old man brought Chu Tian's group. They also jumped onto a jade pillar, sitting down to rest. A strong bald man sneered. Isn't this the bronze-masked old man? Our southern Xia ruins, the great Zhou country wants a piece of the pie? A middle-aged man stood up with an unkind expression. This person was also a person from the black market. He had been alarmed by Chu Tian's strange phenomenon. Giant spirit scholar Yang Kuan, Yin swordsman Wan Wui? The bronze-masked old man's eyes swept over the two of them. His eyes flashed a trace of fear. Heaven and earth's treasures. Only those with ability can have them. You can come, why can't I? Kai Dai's face couldn't help changing. Yang Kuan Wan Wui? Chu Tian curiously asked. You know them? Kai Dai slightly nodded. These two are Central State's most famous rogue cultivators. Their strength is very profound. My father wanted to recruit them as retainers, but he didn't succeed. Chu Tian's sword-like eyebrows slightly jumped. He wasn't shocked by their strength. The giant spirit scholar, the Yin swordsman. These two were obviously not good people. Kai Dai's father actually dared to recruit them as retainers? What kind of sacred being was her father? The bald giant Yang Kuan laughed and said, Good, only those with ability can have them. It's said that the ancient tomb has a corpse soldier that has been refined. Whoever obtains the corpse soldier will be able to run amok. Yang Kuan want it. The middle-aged man coldly said, Corpse soldier? Not interested. I want the netherworld sword. Whoever dares steal it from me, I'll take their life. Ha ha ha. A burst of clear laughter came from outside. That voice was far and near. It was obviously a person with a high cultivation base. The ancient tomb hasn't even opened, yet you're already dividing the treasures. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? This was clearly a woman. Although her voice was very pleasant to hear, it was a bit sharp. Moreover, her tone was very arrogant. It was not something a woman should have. The Yin swordsman angrily said, Who is it? Countless flashes of lightning, like tens of thousands of snakes, suddenly jumped into the main hall. Everyone was scared out of their wits. Countless flashes of lightning condensed in the middle of the main hall, gradually turning into a purple figure. This was a purple-robed woman, around 20 years old, wearing a purple veil, her skin sparkling like jade. Different from Kai Dai's lightness, different from Nangongyen's fiery straightforwardness, not like Meng Qingwu's dignified nobility, not like Meng Yingying's naive cuteness. This was a kind of untamed rebellion, like recklessly galloping lightning, unrestrained, unfathomable, willful, strong, and overbearing. Isn't this one of the Central State Four Young Masters, the Purple Lightning Young Master Yun Yao? Oh damn, how come she's here? The competition is getting more and more intense. Kai Dai explained in a low voice. The Central State Four Young Masters are the most shocking geniuses of the younger generation. The Heavenly Sword Young Master Chu Xinghe is ranked first. The Purple Lightning Young Master Yun Yao is at the bottom. She is the only female among the four young masters. But Yun Yao is also very strong. She has an extremely rare thunder source spirit. She can control thunder and lightning. She has a very terrifying destructive power. Wan Wui knit his brows and said, "You're not staying in Central State City. What are you doing here?" Yun Yao disdainfully looked at him. "Even the scoundrels can come, why can't I?" Wan Wui flew into a rage. "What did you say?" Yun Yao's body was covered in lightning. "What, you're not convinced? How about we compete?" The Central State Four Young Masters were no small matter. Each one of them were shocking geniuses. Since they were young, they had been trained by their families. Jumping levels to challenge them was as simple as drinking water. Wan Wui was very angry, but he did not make a move. "Humph! I came to the ancient tomb to search for treasures. I won't bother with a junior like you." Yun Yao gave a disdainful snort. "No guts." Wan Wui's face sank. He pretended not to hear. At this time, Yun Yao suddenly walked over, looking at Chu Tian and the others sitting on the pillar. "Your positions are mine." Scram! Chu Tian clenched his fists. This woman was going too far. Nangongyen's temper was not good. Nangongyen at least valued loyalty and reason. But this woman only did things her own way. It seemed like she did not put anyone in her eyes. "Since the Purple Lightning Young Master likes to sit here, we'll give it to her." The bronze-masked old man did not want to fight with this person. It was not that he was afraid of her. After all, this was Southern Xia. The Yin family still had some strength. Flame Ghost, Ice Demon, and the bronze-masked old man all retreated. Yun Yao saw that Chu Tian did not move. Her body immediately flashed with lightning. "You still haven't left. Do you want me to send you off?" Kai Dai was also very afraid of Yun Yao. She pulled Chu Tian and said in his ear, "A hero doesn't fight when the odds are against him. Let's go." Yun Yao's cultivation base was at least triple awakened soul. Chu Tian could not beat her. Kai Dai was right. Don't fight when the odds are against him. There would always be a chance to get back at him. The bronze-masked old man's group moved out of the way. Yun Yao casually sat on the pillar. She deliberately looked at Chu Tian with a provocative gaze. She arrogantly said, "You stinky men. All of you are spineless. With just this little bit of courage, you dare compete with me for the ancient tomb's treasures? You haven't even grown your hair, yet you dare try your luck. You might as well go back and drink your milk." The bronze-masked old man's eyes became very dignified. He had thought that by recruiting a genius like Chu Tian, this treasure hunting trip would be 90% in the bag. But now it seemed like it wouldn't be that easy. The giant spirit scholar, the Yin swordsman, the bronze-masked old man, and the purple lightning young master. These four were all extremely powerful characters. Who knew if there were any other powerful characters hidden in the crowd? The difficulty of this treasure hunt would not be low. Chu Tian looked at the purple lightning young master with a depressed expression. "You arrogant little girl. You dare to bully your brother Tian. Just you wait. Don't let me see you in the ancient tomb. Otherwise I'll teach you a lesson." Chapter 69. The Giant Spirit Scholar, the Yin Swordsman, the Bronze-Masked Old Man, and the Purple Lightning Young Master. They were all extremely powerful characters. The cultivators that came to explore the ruins all had a bit of confidence in themselves. Therefore, after entering the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb, not only did they have to face the ancient tomb's restrictions, traps, and monsters, they also had to guard against cultivators plotting against each other. The 10,000 corpse ancient tomb was a dangerous environment. No one could predict what would happen inside. The difficulty of this treasure hunt would not be low. Kai Dai followed by Chu Tian's side. She comforted him in a low voice. Lu Run, don't be angry. Yun Yao is not an ordinary person. Her background is very big. You can't afford to offend her. Chu Tian had a relaxed smile on his face. He didn't seem to care about what just happened. No need to worry, my mind is very clear. I know what I should do. Kai Dai felt relieved hearing this. Although she hadn't known this young man for a long time, Kai Dai could feel his style. This person was wild to the bone. So she was afraid he would do something stupid. Yun Yao was born in the Central State Yun family. The Central State four great families, Chu, Luo Yi and Yun, none of them were good people. Going against the Purple Lightning young master for a small matter, it was too irrational. Even if he wasn't killed by Yun Yao, offending this large family, he wouldn't have a good life in the future. Kai Dai didn't think that. Chu Tian was not afraid of trouble. He had already offended 3 of the 4 great families. One more Yin family didn't matter. One less Yin family didn't matter. Around 2 hours later, the main hall began to shake. The 8-armed demon statue in the middle of the main hall suddenly slowly opened its eyes. A vast and powerful aura soared into the sky. Everyone's spirits were roused. It was finally here. The 8-armed demon opens its eyes. The 10,000 corpse tomb opens. The bronze-masked old man had been waiting for this moment. He immediately stood up. Everyone, we'll work together to open the passage. As for the treasures in the ancient tomb, whoever has the ability can take it. What do you guys think? The Purple Lightning young master Yun Yao snorted. What are we waiting for? Hurry up and do it. Several of the cultivators with the highest cultivation began to release their origin force at the same time. They only felt a weak vibration coming from the ground, and countless runes began to glow like snakes. Like a spider web, they crawled in all directions and gathered at the end of the hall. There was a 10-meter-tall beast head embedded in the wall of the main hall. The originally metallic beast head suddenly seemed to come to life. Its eyes emitted a red glow, and its huge mouth opened bit by bit. A bottomless purple tunnel appeared in the beast's mouth. An ancient death aura slowly spread out. The ancient tomb had been opened. All the cultivators cheered. The colossal spirit householder was the most anxious. He held the ancient tomb token in his hand and directly walked in. In an instant, he was swept up by the purple light and disappeared without a trace. The ancient tomb is open. Everyone charge. Everyone walked into the light gate. The bronze-masked old man looked at Chu Tian and said, "This is the ancient tomb's transport portal. Once we enter this door, we will randomly appear in the first floor of the ancient tomb." Chu Tian frowned. Random teleportation? That's right, random transfer. The bronze-masked old man paused before continuing. The first floor of the ancient tomb is the Abyss of Death. Chu Tian asked, "What kind of place is the Abyss of Death?" From the information we have, the Abyss of Death's astral winds are very strong. The longer you stay here, the easier it is to be attacked by the astral winds. You have to be careful. Don't get blown into the abyss, otherwise you'll never come back. The Abyss of Death's difficulty is average, but there will often be temptations that are hard to resist. Remember, no matter how tempting it is, don't try to get it. Chu Tian remembered this. After you pass through the Abyss of Death, you will enter the second floor, the Wraith Palace. The Wraith Palace will be attacked by evil spirits. The level of danger is average, but the ancient tomb has been opened several times in recent years. Many weak cultivators have died inside. The souls of the cultivators that died did not scatter. After turning into wraith, they will be filled with resentment towards the cultivators that came to search for treasures. So the level of danger has increased. Kai Dai knit her brows. She was clearly worried. How do we deal with this floor? The bronze-masked old man said, "Don't be greedy for the treasures in the palace. Quickly pass through. Don't stay. Remember, the longer you stay here, the easier it is to attract spirits. Pass through this floor as fast as possible." What about the third floor? After we pass through the first 2 floors, we'll enter the true 10,000 corpse ancient tomb. We'll meet up on the 3rd floor. Kai Dai excitedly said, "Then let's go in." Wait a moment. Chu Tian untied the talisman bag. He took out half of the talismans from inside. These are light attributed level 1 talismans. You take care of them. At a critical moment, they can be used to break the evil spirits. You take them with you just in case. Kai Dai revealed a grateful look. Thank you. Chu Tian slightly nodded. Although he was not familiar with Kai Dai, they were still companions. He should take care of her. Kai Dai's strength was not considered strong, but the ancient tomb had sealed their cultivation. Everyone was pulled back to below the awakened soul realm. The ghosts were not that strong. Kai Dai herself had a high-grade spirit weapon. Adding these level 1 talismans, her safety was guaranteed. Let's go. The two of them held the ancient tomb token as they walked through the light door. In an instant, the surroundings changed, the scenery and sounds all disappeared. The temperature dropped several degrees. Their vision became pitch black. This was a pitch black and empty space, deep and mysterious, empty and deathly still. It was enough to arouse humanity's most ancient fears. Chu Tian felt the soles of his feet were floating, like he was stepping on a small boat on the water, because Chu Tian was standing on a black stone slab. Below him was a bottomless abyss. Looking ahead, there were tens of thousands of stone slabs, all of different heights scattered in the air, forming a long floating road, straight to the end of his vision. An illusion array? Chu Tian closed his eyes and opened his mind's eye. The illusion array was too big. The mind's eye's range was limited. He couldn't find any flaws. Powerful, powerful. The perfect combination of reality and illusion. Among the designers of this 10,000 corpse ancient tomb, there was definitely a great array master. This is the legendary Death Abyss. Everyone be careful, don't fall into the abyss. If you accidentally fall, you will immediately be swallowed by the abyss. Your soul will be imprisoned in the ancient tomb, never to be reincarnated. Everyone had just adapted to the environment, preparing to move forward. In the endless void, a strong astral wind suddenly erupted. That astral wind contained a strong strength. Even a cow would be blown away. Several youths could not react in time. They were blown into the air from the stone slabs. Ah! Save me! Save me! The youths waved their limbs, but they could not grab the stone slabs. Falling into the abyss, their pitiful cries stopped. Gone. A living person was gone like this, as if he had never existed. Everyone quickly used their spirit energy to protect their bodies, blocking the astral wind, avoiding being blown into the abyss. This place was too terrifying. One careless step, and they would be consigned to eternal damnation. It made their hearts tremble. It seemed like they couldn't stay here for long. Chu Tian stepped on the floating stone slabs, slowly moving forward. Look, that's source energy crystal stones. So many source energy crystal stones. Several people shouted with faces of pleasant surprise, attracting everyone's attention. On both sides of the floating stone road, there were countless broken crystal stones floating in the air, shining with an alluring light. Source stones. They were all source stones. Several hundred to 1,000. This was enough to make an awakened soul cultivator go crazy. A low-grade source stone could be exchanged for at least 10,000 gold coins. This many source stones were equivalent to several 100 million gold coins. What kind of shocking wealth was this? Chu Tian felt his heart palpitate. But the bronze-masked old man had warned Chu Tian. There were many temptations in the abyss of death. Most of them could not be obtained. If he rashly made a move, he would only die. Although the money was tempting, his life was more important. Chu Tian calmed his mind and began to move forward. At this time, a large man with a full beard excitedly shouted, "There are many treasures in front of us." Treasures? Chu Tian looked up. There was an ancient bronze mirror. It was being blown by the astral wind. The surface of the mirror was flashing with profound runes. One look, and he could tell it was a very powerful treasure. The distance was less than 10 feet. It was hard for people to resist the urge to take the risk. There were more and more treasures appearing around them. Cold glinting treasured swords, scarlet red treasured sabers, golden silk armors. There were too many treasures here. Were they left behind by treasure hunters? Or did they originally exist in the ancient tomb? In short, they were all spirit-grade equipment. Not a single one was common. It made people's blood boil. Chu Tian was not affected. Although the treasures were tempting, he had to be alive to take them. These treasures were all spirit-grade items. Even if their value was high, it was still very limited. It was not worth the risk. The astral wind on both sides was too strong. If he was sucked in, he would be instantly blown away. Chu Tian continued to move forward. The surrounding treasures were even more tempting. A cultivator shouted with red eyes, "Purine grass! There's actually purine grass!" There were some fragments in the air. The large ones were several meters in diameter. The small ones were like floating stones. All kinds of heaven and earth treasures were growing on them. Purine grass was a very precious treasure. When the cultivator saw a small island fragment, there were several dozen purine grass growing on it. Moreover, the island fragment was only 10 feet away. He almost went crazy with excitement. With the help of the purine grass, I can refine the extreme Yin sword chi. At that time, within the same level, who can stop me? This is mine, no one can steal it from me. The cultivator roared. White spirit energy surged out from his body. He suddenly jumping towards the island full of purine grass. 10 feet, 9 feet, 8 feet. The spirit energy on the cultivator's body quickly dissipated. This was because the further he was from the stone road, the stronger the astral wind was. With his peak 9th body refinement layer cultivation, how could he resist such strong astral wind? When he was about 5 feet away, the cultivator's protective spirit energy was like a candle in the wind, finally completely extinguished. No, no! The cultivator screamed in fear. He wanted to turn back, but it was simply an extravagant hope. The strong astral wind wrapped around his body, blowing him away, leaving behind only a mournful cry of despair in the darkness. This cultivator's miserable state poured a bucket of cold water on the others. Difficult. Too difficult. There were countless treasures. Wanting to obtain them, was it easier said than done? Chu Tian's eyes flashed. He had the mind's eye. He could observe the changes in the astral wind. The astral wind had a certain pattern. At a certain time it would be at its strongest, but at a certain moment it would weaken. If he made a move when the astral wind weakened, would he have a chance? Everyone continued walking. There were several tragedies. Cultivators tried to obtain treasures, but were blown away by the astral wind. Among them, there was one person who reached his destination, even personally grabbed a treasure, but was swept away on his way back. Everyone could not help but sigh. The abyss of death. It really was a place that devoured people without spitting out their bones. It fully stimulated people's greed, then led them to their deaths. Chu Tian coldly watched from the side. He firmly believed that he had grasped the astral wind's pattern. There was a way. There must be a way. At this time, another small island was blown over. The small island was covered with dark blue herbs. There was also a stone table. On the stone table there was a transparent jade bottle and a ring. It was about 7 feet away. That transparent jade bottle was filled with a refreshing energy. Even though it was so far away, it made people feel their bodies shake. Even the small wounds on their bodies quickly healed. That simple and unadorned ring was filled with a sharp aura. It was clearly a very powerful treasure. Those blue herbs were filled with an alluring aura. Even if it was the most common herb, if it could grow for hundreds or even thousands of years, it would be enough to become a treasure of the elixir grade. The small island was covered with blue herbs. How could people not be moved? This was truly a great fortune. At this time, the astral wind had just passed its peak. It was rapidly weakening. Chu Tian had already grasped the pattern of the astral wind's changes. A good chance. Taking a few steps, he jumped off the stone road, entered the endless void, and flew towards the small island. Chapter 70. Everyone suddenly cried out in alarm. There was actually someone who wanted to die. Did this brat not want to live anymore? Everyone couldn't help stopping in their tracks. They looked at this idiot, who couldn't resist the temptation, and took the initiative to jump out to die. Chu Tian had just jumped off the floating stone path, when his body was immediately covered in a layer of starlight. All around him, the biting cold astral winds suddenly attacked him. Just like blades and nails, they continuously hit his body. The starlight scattered in all directions, and the light gradually weakened. Such strong astral winds. A normal person in such a harsh environment would be instantly torn to pieces. Even with the starlight immortal body, Chu Tian still felt a little strained. Although the astral winds had become smaller, they were still much sharper. Was this really a trap? If he didn't have a strong enough defensive cultivation technique, he would have thought that he had grasped the laws of the astral winds. If he recklessly jumped out, he wouldn't even know how he died. However, this kind of strong astral winds, Chu Tian should still be able to withstand it. Therefore, he didn't have any spare energy as he charged forward at full speed towards the small island in front of him. 5 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter. Just as Chu Tian felt that the starlight immortal body was about to reach its limit, he finally landed on the small island with a pung sound. His surroundings suddenly loosened, and the astral winds that had wrapped around him like 1,000 knives finally disappeared. Success! He really succeeded. The cultivators on the floating path opened their eyes wide. This brat had actually braved the astral winds and jumped onto the small island. Chu Tian knew that time was life, so he quickly rushed to the stone table. Without even looking at it, he grabbed the jade bottle and the ring, stuffing them into his chest. Other than these two treasures, the small island was filled with 1,000-year-old elixirs. There were at least several hundred of them. If he could bring them out, how shocking of a fortune would that be? Hoo. The astral winds around the small island began to howl. The astral winds began to gradually increase in strength. Not good. There was no time. Chu Tian randomly pulled out several stalks and ran while stuffing them into his chest. Starlight continued to condense around his body as he once again activated the starlight immortal body to its peak. With a low roar, like a great rock spreading its wings, it jumped high into the air again and flew straight toward the floating path. From jumping out to jumping back, the entire process had only taken a few seconds. However, the astral winds in the void had doubled in strength and continued to strengthen at an astonishing rate. Bang bang! When the countless invisible blades of astral wind slashed at him, a cracking sound appeared around Chu Tian. 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter. When Chu Tian was about to return to the floating path, the starlight immortal body suddenly exploded. Chu Tian's body was instantly cut by the sharp astral wind, leaving 5-6 deep wounds on his body. If it was an ordinary person, their mind would have been thrown into chaos, and they would have fallen into the bottomless abyss on the spot. Chu Tian, however, remained unmoved. He continued to maintain the steady flow of his origin energy. In the end, under the dangerous situation, he finally landed firmly on the floating path. Chu Tian let out a long breath and wiped the sweat from his forehead. He looked into the boundless darkness at the astral winds that were wreaking havoc everywhere. This is so fucking dangerous. If I was just a little bit slower, or if my will wasn't strong enough, I'm afraid I would never be able to reincarnate. No matter what. Anyway, the thing was already in his hands. Chu Tian took out the thing from his chest, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. He was afraid that he was the only one who could obtain a treasure from this place of death. What was this herb? Looking at its aura and color, there was no doubt that it was a 1,000-year-old herb. No matter how ordinary the herb was, as long as it was a 1,000-year-old herb, it would be a treasure of the elixir level. It was something that could only be encountered but not sought. It was something that cultivators would fight over. Chu Tian placed the herb in front of his nose and sniffed it. A vigorous essence qi suddenly flowed into Chu Tian's body, allowing him to recover a bit of his consumed yuan qi. Chu Tian's eyes lit up. 1,000-year-old origin essence grass. Origin essence grass was a relatively common consumable that could be refined into a quick recovery origin energy potion. The amount of origin energy consumed was the key factor that determined the outcome. A medicine that could quickly recover origin energy was equivalent to a second life. 1,000-year-old origin essence grass. How strong was its medicinal effect? Even if it was eaten raw, it could instantly restore one's origin energy and increase one's cultivation base, without any side effects. With several 1,000-year-old origin essence grass in hand, as long as the other side did not have overwhelming strength, even if he was surrounded, Chu Tian would still have the strength to protect himself. Not bad. This was really not bad. Those wind swordsman, giant spirit scholar, purple lightning young master. Don't look at how strong they were outside. If they fought with Chu Tian in the ancient tomb, they would not necessarily be able to beat Chu Tian. These origin essence grass could allow Chu Tian to go all out in a fight. He would no longer have to worry about consuming too much origin energy. What was this jade bottle? Chu Tian had just taken out the jade bottle when an enticing fragrance wafted out. The bottle was filled with a glowing liquid. This was life essence water. An entire pool of spring of life could only refine a few drops of life essence water. This water was a saint healing medicine. It could revive the dead. As long as there was still a breath left, it could save a person's life. Of course, this was for awakened soul cultivators. A bottle of saint healing medicine? No, not only that. Chu Tian found that the jade bottle's material was not simple. It should not be a simple container. When he carefully looked at it, he found that there were several ancient source energy arrays at the bottom of the bottle. Chu Tian could see through the effects of the source energy arrays with a single glance, and he couldn't help smiling. A good life bottle. This bottle contained life essence water. It could directly refine life essence water. The jade bottle was made of a kind of jade stone that could absorb life essence. The array at the bottom of the bottle was used to refine life essence water. In other words, the life essence water inside the bottle could not be used up. It could be continuously produced. Naturally, the production speed was very slow. It would take several weeks or even several months to form a bottle. If it was placed in the spring of life outside South Sky City, it would only take 1 to 2 hours to form a bottle. The value of life essence water was shocking. A jade bottle that could produce life essence water. It was simply a priceless treasure. Chu Tian carefully looked at the ring. This ring released a sharp aura, and the source energy array on it was a bit familiar. Chu Tian carefully looked at it for a few seconds, and then he put it on his right index finger, without even thinking about it. Perfect. He had taken a large risk this time, but it was worth it in terms of the harvest. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. So many people had failed, but Chu Tian had come back alive. What was going on here? No matter what the reason was, this fellow had obtained a treasure. How could they not be jealous? The most hateful thing was, this fellow had taken it out, as if there was no one present. Everyone has seen these treasures. The bearded man angrily roared. Brat, how can you take it all for yourself? Another person also shouted. That's right, everyone has a share. The two of them opened their mouths. Everyone began to boil. Quickly take it out. I want the ring. I want that jade bottle. The cultivators in front and behind all had red eyes as they slowly surrounded him. This brat was alone. Could he deal with everyone? The bearded man loudly shouted. Let me tell you, I am an awakened soul cultivator. You giving me the treasure first is your good fortune. Quickly take it out. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Who told you to take the treasure in front of everyone? Immediately take out everything on your body, and we'll spare your life. Chu Tian silently looked at these evil wolf-like people. His lips curled into a contemptuous cold smile. The ring on his right hand released a strong fluctuation, and a strong aura suddenly erupted. Such a strong aura. The bearded man shouted for the sword Dao ring. He excitedly shouted, This treasure belongs to me. You want it? Chu Tian's eyes flashed with killing intent. Then take it. Chu Tian waved his finger, and a light blue sword chi suddenly shot out. Its speed was too fast. The bearded man was split into 2 halves on the spot. None of the 4 or 5 people who were in a straight line were spared. They were split in half like vegetables, and directly fell into the bottomless abyss, disappearing from sight. Everyone was shocked. This brat was this strong. No, it should be said that the ring was this strong. That sword chi was not inferior to the full power attack of a first-layer awakened soul cultivator. It wasn't that there weren't any awakened soul cultivators here, but under the ancient tomb's seal, it was impossible for them to display such a strong strength. It was also impossible for this brat to do so. It was the effect of the ring. Chu Tian coldly swept his eyes over these people. The treasure is here. Come and take it. These people were like ducks being grabbed by the neck. They could not make a sound. They all opened their eyes wide, and looked at Chu Tian with a face full of fear. They were not willing to be the first ones to take the lead. Scram for me. Everyone was so scared that they opened a path. Chu Tian swaggered over. These people kept quiet out of fear, not even daring to let out a fart. In the end, this world was ruled by strength. Whoever's fist was harder was the master. When they saw Chu Tian's fierce battle strength, how could they still dare to steal his things? After Chu Tian quickly left, he looked at the ring for a while. This sword chi ring was very easy to use. It could condense wind sword chi by pouring in spirit energy. Moreover, it was the sword chi of a first-layer awakened soul cultivator. Its strength was fixed. It was not affected by the ancient tomb's seal. This treasure could allow a body refinement cultivator to display an awakened soul cultivator's attack. To a normal person, it was incomparably precious. For Chu Tian at his current level, it could make up for his shortcomings. Chu Tian had a strong defense, but his attack power was lacking. The sword chi ring could make up for Chu Tian's lack of attack power. Chu Tian continued to walk forward. There were many treasures around him, but there were only a few that came within 10 feet of him. Moreover, the abyss of death's astral wind seemed to become stronger as time passed. There was no other way. The value of these treasures was not low, but it was not worth risking his life for. Without 100% certainty, Chu Tian would not take this risk. Finally, the suspended stone path came to an end. Chu Tian entered the second floor through a door of light. First floor, abyss of death passed. Second floor, resentment spirit hall opened. The dark and empty world disappeared. Chu Tian arrived in front of a large group of dilapidated ancient palaces. His entire field of vision was covered by a faint black fog. 10 meters away was a blind spot. A cold wind blew through the ash-gray fog, accompanied by the cries of ghosts, making one's heart feel a little uneasy. The bronze-masked old man had said that the first 2 floors' tests were not that difficult. But as more and more cultivators died in the ancient tomb, the second floor became more and more dangerous. Because of the cultivators that died in the ancient tomb, their souls were locked, their resentment was very strong. Finally, they turned into evil spirits in the resentment spirit hall. They were incomparably jealous of the cultivators that came after them. Every time they encountered them, they would endlessly chase after them, making it more and more difficult. Chu Tian had just entered the fog when the fog began to boil, as if it had a life of its own. Waves of mournful howls came from all directions, disturbing a person's mind. The ghost fog was not a normal fog, it was a kind of evil energy. A normal person would be sucked dry in a short amount of time. Even a cultivator that was not weak would become weaker and weaker if they stayed here for a long time. This was not a good place to stay. The resentment spirit hall was already filled with danger. Now he had to constantly resist the ghost fog. How could it be easy? At this time, a strong aura came, making Chu Tian's heart slightly startled. Thinking that it was a ghost, he immediately condensed starlight to protect his body. A proud and cold voice came from the ghost fog. Your defensive cultivation technique is not bad. A purple figure walked out from the fog. Her skin was as white as snow, her jet black hair scattered down her back. Her face was covered with a veil. A pair of bright eyes stared at him. Her temperament was proud, cold and holy, like a thorny rose. Yun Yao's body was surrounded by thin lightning. Once the fog approached her, it would immediately be repelled. Lightning could repel evil spirits. The ghost fog had no effect on her at all. It's actually this woman? You really are unlucky. Chu Tian revealed an evil smile. Chapter 71. Chu Tian was not a narrow-minded person, but he did not have a good impression of Yun Yao. People could be wild and arrogant, but they could not wear it on their faces all the time, as if they were the only one in the world. A little girl from a small country with a triple awakened soul. Even I am not this arrogant, so why are you so arrogant? This kind of person had been pampered since they were young, developing an arrogant personality. Adding on to their lack of experience and lack of scheming, they only knew how to show off their superiority. Yun Yao used a commanding tone and said, "There is a treasure I want in the palace in front. Go there, and help me lure away the nearby monsters. After the matter is done, There will be a great reward. Yun Yao's tone was filled with disdain. He was just a nameless pawn with an average appearance and strength. With my reputation and strength, how could he not listen to me? Yun Yao was clearly preparing to take some treasure, but encountered a very troublesome monster. She wanted to find someone to lure away the monster, so she found Chu Tian, a monster that even Yun Yao did not have the confidence to deal with. How could a nobody have any hope of survival? This girl clearly did not put other people's lives in her eyes. Insults and bullying, as long as they did not cross the line, Chu Tian could treat it as a joke. After all, with his status, even if he was reborn and became weak, he would not bother with these little girls. How could a dragon care about the ridicule of an ant? At most he would teach them a small lesson, but now it was different. She wanted him to be a meat shield, or even a bait. How could he endure this? Chu Tian did not have the personality to suffer losses. She had already offended Chu Tian once, and now she had offended him again. If Chu Tian still swallowed this insult, then his name could be written upside down. Yin Yao was still arrogant as she said, "Are you deaf? Why aren't you leaving? You want people to risk their lives to serve you with just one sentence? Do you think you're a fucking king?" Chu Tian's loud roar shocked Yin Yao. This little brat really made people look at him in a new light, daring to use this kind of tone to talk back to me. I am not an emperor. You should be clear about my identity. I advise you not to be unable to differentiate good from bad. In this central state, who knows how many people are willing to go through fire and water for me? It is an honor for you to be able to work for me. Now I'll give you another chance. Are you going or not? Chu Tian laughed happily. Actually, I'm very curious. Where did you get your confidence from when your cultivation was sealed? Yun Yao's expression changed. How dare you? Chu Tian deliberately mocked. All right, woman, I know your motive. Please don't take the opportunity to hit on me. You're not my type. I don't want you even if you're paying me. Hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, Big Brother will teach you how to be a man. How? How preposterous. Yun Yao's face was pale with anger. Did he eat the guts of a leopard? The elders of the Central Plains were all very polite to her. She was one of Central State City's 4 young masters, the only female of the 4 geniuses, and one of the most dazzling beauties in Central State City. She had always been the center of attention. When had she ever received this kind of treatment? How could there be such a shameless person in this world? Why would this young miss bother to strike up a conversation with such a mediocre appearance, mediocre strength, and lowly background? Yun Yao's eyes flashed with a dangerous light. I thought I couldn't kill you. There are many people who want to kill me, but none of them have a good ending. Chu Tian's heart was already filled with killing intent. Do you want to try? Not knowing, Yun Yao felt her heart palpitate. She had a strong feeling that something bad was about to happen, and it forced her to suppress her killing intent. Relax, you're still useful to me. I won't kill you. The lightning around Yun Yao's body suddenly intensified and countless profound runes appeared. However, this lesson is unavoidable. I will let you know that the weak will always be the weak. First, suffer a bit of physical pain. Thunder. Yun Yao's delicate voice rang out, and a purple-red thunder appeared. This woman's source spirit. It was actually thunder. Thunder was one of nature's strongest energies. A thunder source spirit's battle strength was definitely not weak. 4-5 thumb-thick thunder lights soared into the sky, bringing with them a godly might. As if they had a mind of their own, they charged down at the same time. Pung pung pung. The thunder light landed on his body, immediately intertwined with the starlight. The thunder was directly blocked by the starlight. Chu Tian calmly accepted the thunder attack, not forgetting to taunt her. Actually, there are many types of thunder source spirits. You're just a lower middle grade one. I've seen the 9 heavens thunder source spirit before. I don't know where you get your sense of superiority from. Frog in a well, stupid to the extreme. Yin Yao was shocked and angry. This fellow's cultivation base had not even reached the 9th body refinement layer. Even if Yin Yao's cultivation base was suppressed, she was still at the peak 9th body refinement layer. She was confident that she could sweep away normal cultivators at the same level. She was not an ordinary person. She was one of the Central State 4 young masters, the most dazzling genius among the tens of millions of people in the entire county. Thunder source spirit, shocking everyone, making countless people envious. Other than Qi Ming and a few other geniuses, there was no one that could match her at the same level. But this young man's cultivation base had not even reached the peak 9th body refinement layer. You forced me. Yunyao's self-esteem was hit, and she was completely enraged. Hundreds of thunder lights shot out from her body. The violent energy directly evaporated a large portion of the dense fog. The thunder lights were like flowing water. They all gathered on her arms, turning her arms into two glowing thunder blades. The light was endless. The dazzling light was shocking. It made people unable to look straight at her. Swift thunder slash. Yunyao's figure flashed. Fast. Too fast. Not even a shadow could be seen. The purple figure dragged the two thunder lights as it shot forward. Yunyao's speed was more than double that of Chu Tian's. If it was a normal cultivator, they would not be able to dodge her attack. Hyperfocus. Chu Tian gently moved his body, using the slightest gap to dodge the thunder lights. Yunyao used her arm as a blade, heavily slashing down, but missed. Her heart was shocked. This kind of subtle evasive maneuver, a normal person would not be able to do it. Hyperfocus. He had actually mastered the profound meaning of hyperfocus. When Chu Tian dodged, his left hand swept past her face. Yunyao felt her face become empty. The purple veil had already been removed. Yunyao touched her cheeks. Her face was completely red. Yunyao's true appearance was revealed. It was a beauty that could cause the downfall of a country. It was not inferior to the Meng Qinggu sisters. It was just a different style, each with their own merits. Give it back to me. Chu Tian gave a laugh. The ring on his right hand glowed. It shot out a sharp sword qi. Yunyao quickly summoned lightning to cover her body. The sword qi forced her back several steps, but it did not harm her body at all. Yunyao really was not simple. She could actually block a sword qi attack at the first awakened soul layer. Chu Tian shook the veil in his hand. His face was filled with ridicule. The Central State 4 young masters have an undeserved reputation. You wouldn't be a fake, right? How arrogant was Yunyao? After being repeatedly provoked, she could not hold it in anymore. Rushing thunder palm. Countless purple and blue lightning bolts blossomed with a beautiful yet dangerous radiance. The raging lightning energy radiated outwards and melted away a large portion of it. The lightning energy all gathered in her hands, causing Yunyao's white jade-like hands to become lightning hands. Such a strong aura. This time Chu Tian could not help being vigilant. Even a normal first awakened soul layer cultivator would not be able to block it. In terms of attack power, she would not lose to Nangong Yin. Her entire body disappeared, leaving behind 2 streaks of lightning. She instantly appeared in front of Chu Tian. Not only did Yunyao have the destructive power of lightning, her speed was also like lightning. Chu Tian did not have a chance to dodge. He could only use the starlight to protect his body, forming a crystal-clear armor. Pung! The 2 rushing thunder palms bombarded Chu Tian's defense. Lightning shot everywhere. Starlight scattered. Chu Tian felt like he had been struck by lightning. Yunyao felt like she had hit a hard diamond. The rushing thunder palm evaporated most of the starlight, but it did not harm Chu Tian. Instead, she was forced back several steps. Chu Tian took this chance to punch Yunyao's beautiful face, sending her flying several meters away. Your strength is only SOSO. Chu Tian rubbed his fist, his face filled with disdain. Yunyao's black hair fell down. Half of her face was swollen. Her heart was filled with shock. This was impossible. How could there be a defense that could block the rushing thunder palm? At this moment, Chu Tian was standing in the same place, unharmed. Countless arcs of lightning wrapped around his body. The starlight continued to shine. He was like a god descending to earth, overbearing and strong. Not only was he overbearing and strong, his attacks were ruthless. This kind of beauty that could cause the downfall of a country. Chu Tian did not even think. He just punched her in the face. This could be said to have made Yunyao stunned. Her mind went blank. A strong sense of defeat filled her heart. Her strongest attack could not even injure the other side. This blow to Yunyao was a bit too big. She thought she would be a soft bone that could be easily kneaded. She never thought she would kick an iron plate. Why is it like this? The young geniuses in Central State that are stronger than me. Aren't there only 3? How could a random nobody be able to beat me to the ground? Just this bit of strength? Weak. Don't mention me. I have a friend who can beat you up. Chu Tian was obviously referring to Nan Gongyun. Under the same level situation, Nan Gongyun definitely had the ability to easily defeat Yun Yao. If you have the ability, fight me outside the ancient tomb. Yun Yao clenched her fists, shouting angrily, I can kill you with one finger. You dare threaten me? Chu Tian directly walked in front of Yun Yao. But what you said is reasonable. Then no matter what you say, I can't give you the chance to take revenge. Pung. Pung. Chu Tian's right hand pressed on her chest. Suddenly using his fingers, spirit energy rushed into her meridians, sealing a few main meridians. Yun Yao's body trembled. Her snow-white cheeks flushed red. This bastard dares to sully me? Chu Tian did not hesitate to feel Yun Yao's body up and down. He had to say that this girl's figure was not bad. The places that should be big were big. The places that should be small were small. Bullshit, 4 young masters. Why don't you change your name to 4 big poppers? Chu Tian found a few bottles of pills, a bracelet, a necklace, and nothing else. He angrily said, These worthless things. You have the nerve to bring them out. I'm fucking ashamed for you. Yun Yao's beautiful face was flushed red from embarrassment and indignation. She had been robbed. She was one of the dignified Central State 4 young masters, the most eye-catching super genius. Not even 20 years old she had stepped into the awakened soul realm. Now she was already a triple awakened soul expert. Who would have thought that she would be humiliated by a fellow in the body refinement realm? If she could make it out alive this time, she would definitely tear his corpse into 10,000 pieces. Relax, I won't kill you, because you still have a use for me. Chu Tian opened Yun Yao's meridians. Right now I am very interested in the treasure you saw. You go lure that strong person away. Let me go in and take the thing. After this matter is done, there will be a heavy reward. Yun Yao was about to explode from anger. Wasn't this what she had said before? Coming out from Chu Tian's mouth. This was simply slapping her face. Shame. Shame. This was simply a great shame. Chu Tian fiercely said. Why are you still standing there like an idiot? You are now my captive. Why aren't you going to help me? Bastard. How can I, Yun Yao, be held hostage by a thief like you? Yun Yao was completely enraged. Releasing lightning again, she rushed forward again. I will perish together with you. After a few rounds, Yun Yao was knocked down again. Chu Tian clutched his chest. A trace of blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. His hair and clothes were burnt black, emitting black smoke. It was clear that he had also suffered some injuries. This girl was too troublesome. Even if Chu Tian could suppress her, the advantage was not too obvious. Yun Yao was even more embarrassed. Her hair was a mess, her image was gone. Her cold and beautiful face was swollen. Her expression was hysterical. If you have the ability, then kill me. Otherwise I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. She rushed forward again. Fuck, her temper was quite fierce. This stubbornness had angered Chu Tian. No matter dealing with this kind of woman, your brother Tian has a lot of experience. You're not convinced, right? Chu Tian easily knocked Yun Yao down. A slap landed on her plump butt. Lousy will beat you until you're convinced. Yun Yao's mind went blank. He actually hit my butt. Chapter 72. Her mind went blank. Yun Yao was 20 years old, and one of the 4 young masters. She had been the apple of her eye since she was a child. Her nature was tyrannical and strong. She had always done things her own way, and was used to bullying others. When had she ever been bullied? Let alone being spanked by a man? Pa. Yun Yao did not have time to react. That plump and tight buttocks were slapped heavily again. This woman's figure was not as good as Meng Qingwu's, but it was very good to the touch. It was very bouncy, making people feel very comfortable. She was also one of the 4 young masters. To be able to personally teach this kind of person a lesson, just the sense of accomplishment was enough to make people feel good. Chu Tian asked again. Are you going or not? Yun Yao stared at him with her beautiful eyes. Don't even think about it. Chu Tian continued to beat her. Yun Yao completely collapsed, actually crying on the spot. You humiliate me like this. I won't let you go. I won't let you go. I will definitely kill you. It's natural for you to humiliate others, but you won't allow others to humiliate you? Haven't you heard that those who humiliate others will always be humiliated? Chu Tian did not know how to be gentle with the fairer sex. He hit her but a few more times. I'll ask you one last time, are you going or not? Are you going to kill me? I owe such a hard bone. Chu Tian smiled evilly and said, there's no other way. Don't worry, I won't kill you. But I am a person who likes to ruin flowers. You dare. Why wouldn't I dare? Chu Tian's face was fierce as he said, I've decided first I'll rape you 10 or 20 times, then I'll destroy your cultivation and disfigure your face. She had seen ruthless. She had never seen someone this ruthless. You pervert. Yin Yao completely panicked. Stop. If you dare treat me like this, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. If it was really like this, she simply did not have the courage to continue living. You think I don't dare? Chu Tian did not have the slightest bit of pity. I'll ask you one last time. Are you going or not? Yin Yao clenched her jade teeth, her eyes filled with mist. I'll go. Chu Tian fiercely slapped her butt again. Do you know what you're doing? Yin Yao was about to go crazy with anger. I know. Chu Tian patted him again. Will you take revenge? Yin Yao's eyes widened as she roared again. Nonsense. I can't wait to cut you into 1,000 pieces. Eat your flesh and drink your blood. I'll grind your bones to dust. Damn it, so ruthless. How could that be? Chu Tian pretended to pull off Yin Yao's clothes. I don't have a choice. I can't leave a future problem for myself. Even though you're not my type, I'll have to do it. Stop. No more revenge. I won't take revenge. Yin Yao's tears fell again. Stop. You really won't take revenge? Really? All right, I'll trust you this once. Yin Yao's buttocks were burning hot, and the hatred in her heart couldn't help but deepen. As for promising not to take revenge? Pooh. How could he not take revenge? As long as she left the ancient tomb, the first thing she would do would be to kill this bastard. How could Chu Tian not see through her thoughts? He didn't take it to heart. Why aren't you leading the way? Is your buttocks itchy again? Can I help you rub them? Yin Yao's face was as red as a monkey's buttocks. She gritted her teeth so hard that they were about to break. She was the one who found that place first. She didn't think that it would benefit this bastard. As long as there's life, there's hope. Just you wait and see. Yin Yao glared at Chu Tian. He looked so ordinary and had no reputation at all. But his personality was even crazier than hers. Yin Yao couldn't do anything about it. She originally wanted to kidnap Chu Tian, but she was the one being kidnapped instead. Yin Yao had no choice but to bring Chu Tian over. In the fog, the silhouette of a pitch-black palace could be faintly seen. The Black Palace was located in the center of the palace complex. At the same time, it was the place with the densest yin qi. Even through the thick fog, one could still feel the ancient aura from the palace. The treasure hidden inside was probably not that simple. Yin Yao gritted her teeth in dissatisfaction. Did she really have to lure away the ghost inside? Did she really have to let this bastard benefit? Just when Yin Yao had no choice but to go in, Chu Tian suddenly realized something. He immediately called out to Yin Yao. Wait a minute. While Yin Yao was in a daze, the sound of explosions came from the fog. It was faintly accompanied by the cries of ghosts. She revealed a surprised expression. There seemed to be people inside. Quickly run. 3 cultivators rushed out in a sorry state. A ghostly figure followed closely behind. Its entire body was shrouded in mist, and its face was hideous and sinister. It held a black trident that was shrouded in blue ghost flames. Wherever it passed, a cold wind blew, and its speed was extremely fast. Chu Tian was shocked. It's the spirit demon. The spirit demon was an extremely powerful spirit. It took hundreds of thousands of years of cultivation for a malicious spirit to form. If it was in a situation where it wasn't sealed, Yin Yao wouldn't be a match for a spirit demon. Even if the spirit demon was sealed in the ancient tomb, with its mysterious abilities, it was enough to fight against an awakened soul realm expert. Ah! The spirit demon let out a sharp cry. Yin Yao felt as if a nail had pierced into her mind. It instantly caused her intense pain. Her eyes turned black. Her body became numb, and she lost consciousness. Chu Tian shouted, "Wake up!" Yunyao's body trembled. She instantly recovered. She revealed an aghast expression. It was attacking her mind. The cultivators did not have this kind of luck. The spirit demon's trident released a blue ghost flame. The ghost flame ignited one of the cultivators. He miserably cried out on the ground. He desperately rolled around. The ghost flame was not a normal flame. It could not be extinguished with normal methods. His skin quickly became wrinkled. His hair quickly turned white. In just a few seconds, the young and strong lad had turned into a skinny old man with one foot in the grave. The spirit demon took a deep breath. The ghost flame and the cultivator's essence were all absorbed back into his body. Such a terrifying method. The two cultivators were scared out of their wits. They quickly ran away. Seeing Chu Tian and Yunyao, it was like they were grasping at straws. Help! Help! Yunyao's face suddenly changed. That ghost was led over by them. Chu Tian had the heart to save them, but it was too late. Ayo! The spirit demon's weapon stabbed into the ground. The blue ghost flame once again spouted out. The ground was burned into a long ditch. It was like a blue demonic dragon was wriggling across the ground. The two cultivators could not dodge in time. The ghost flame devoured their bodies and they died on the spot. Chu Tian and Yunyao dodged to the left and right. They did not dare touch the ghost flame that was burning their life force. Thunder! Yunyao shouted in the air. She summoned the power of her thunder source spirit. Her 10 fingers suddenly stretched out and countless streaks of thunder shot out. The spirit demon did not have a physical body. Its body was in a state of nothingness. It was invisible and hard to attack. Normal martial arts had no effect on it. The trident blocked it. Dozens of streaks of thunder were sucked in by the trident. Yunyao revealed an aghast expression. A ghost could block the thunder attack. How was this possible? Thunder was the nemesis of evil spirits. Chu Tian was not surprised. The spirit demon has been in the ancient tomb for too long. Although its cultivation has been sealed, its foundation is very deep. Using the yin energy in its body to block the thunder, this is very rare. Yunyao continued to release thunder. Her face was already pale. I can't hold on much longer. Are you still watching? Chu Tian leisurely took out a talisman. His 2 legs kicked out. With a so. The spirit demon was not simple. While he was blocking Yunyao's attack with his trident, he also released a hand. Several blue ghost flames shot towards Chu Tian. 2 streaks of sword chi cut through the ghost flames. Chu Tian smoothly charged in front of the spirit demon. The glowing talisman slammed into the spirit demon's body. In that instant the light was released. It was like a small sun had exploded. The golden white light enveloped the spirit demon. It instantly melted the spirit demon's body. Good chance. Yunyao took this chance to condense even stronger thunder energy. Taking advantage of the spirit demon being heavily injured, she used the thunder to tear the spirit demon apart. The flickering thunder light shot out, creating several large holes in the ground. Chu Tian quickly dodged. The position he was just standing at was also struck by a bolt of thunder. Fuck! You woman! You actually took the chance to deal with me. Yunyao's eyes flashed with a trace of pity. I only used too much strength. It would be strange if I believed you. The most poisonous thing is a woman's heart. I might as well just kill him. I don't want to keep a scourge by my side. Yunyao saw Chu Tian's uncertain expression. Her heart skipped a beat. You. What do you want to do? I really didn't do it on purpose. Chu Tian really wanted to kill her. But looking at the Black Palace, his killing intent quickly calmed down. This palace was not easy to break through. Keeping Yunyao by his side, she would at least be a helper. I hope there won't be a next time. Yes. Even in her dreams, Yunyao would never have thought that she would have to lower her voice to a small character. This young man was too hateful. He clearly did not even have hair. But he was so cunning, making it hard for people to understand his thoughts. Yunyao saw Chu Tian pick up a purple-black bead. What is that? You don't even know what a spirit bead is? You really are ignorant. Chu Tian put the spirit bead into his pocket. This thing was a treasure. It was much more valuable than a corpse core. A spirit bead is formed from the soul's spirit. It is not inferior to a beast core of the same level. It might even be a bit higher. The spirit demon was a very strong, fierce spirit. If this spirit demon was in the outside world, it would be much stronger than Yu Niao. Perhaps the spirit bead that Chu Tian took was also very valuable. Such a good thing had been stolen. Yu Niao clenched her teeth. She was a bit unwilling. Yu Niao let out a sigh of relief. This troublesome fellow has been taken care of. You should hurry up and go in. Chu Tian looked at her with a thought-provoking gaze. Hey, you really don't understand. Or are you just playing dumb? Yu Niao's eyes flashed. I don't know what you're talking about. Chu Tian lightly said. I'm afraid there isn't just one spirit demon in this palace. There should be many other spirits. Yu Niao snorted. I've never been inside, how would I know? Actually, normal spirits are easy to deal with. Chu Tian's eyes became serious. He stared at the Black Palace. Spirit demons are the guards of the Spirit King. If there is a spirit demon here, then there is a high chance that there is a Spirit King inside. The Spirit King was a spirit that had cultivated for thousands of years. It could sweep away awakened soul cultivators in the outside world. Even if it was sealed inside the ancient tomb, it was still a powerful existence that was hard to defeat. Hey! I never thought that there would be people who knew about the existence of the Spirit King. A hoarse old voice came from the fog. One was a black-robed old man. The other was a middle-aged swordsman. They slowly walked over. Yu Niao saw the middle-aged man. Wan Wui. She looked at the black-robed old man. Black Flame Medicine Master Mo Yen. I never thought that you would come. I never saw you in the main hall. The middle-aged swordsman was a rogue cultivator expert. He was known as the Yin swordsman Wan Wui. The black-robed old man was very low-key in the main hall, so no one noticed him. Actually, he was an incredible person. His nickname was Black Flame Medicine Master. He was a very famous alchemist in Central State. Wan Wui looked at Yu Niao with an unkind expression. Does the Purple Lightning young master also want a share of the Nether Ghost Palace? Old brother Wui, don't be anxious. Mo Yen was a skinny old man with a face full of wrinkles. He had a gentle smile on his face. If I'm not wrong, the Purple Lightning young master wants the Thunder Spirit bead in the Nether Ghost Palace. Am I right? Yu Niao clenched her fist. So what? Mo Yen slowly said. Old brother wants the Netherworld sword. I want the Netherworld Ghost Flame. As for the Thunder Spirit bead, it belongs to you. We don't have any conflicts of interest. Since it's like this, why don't we cooperate? Yu Niao's heart skipped a beat. This was a good chance to get rid of Chu Tian. Yu Niao directly walked to the side of the two. What you say makes sense. I'll cooperate with you. After this matter is over, we'll both take what we need. Chu Tian's nose almost went crooked from his anger. You're splitting the treasures. What does father take? Mo Yen looked at Chu Tian. He was very young and his aura was not strong. He coldly snorted and said, Is this the Purple Lightning young master's friend? Yu Niao snorted. I don't know him. And nobody dares to split the treasures with us? Wan Wui took out a black jade-like treasure sword. I don't want to kill you yet. Scram. Chu Tian said with a cold smile. Forgive me for speaking bluntly. You small fries won't even be enough to fill the gaps between the Spirit King's teeth. Purple Lightning young master. Yin swordsman. Black Flame Medicine Master. Which one of them wasn't a famous person? This brat actually called them small fries. How bold. The Yin swordsman was enraged. His sword swept out. A sharp sword chi suddenly shot out. Yu Niao revealed a gloating expression. The Yin swordsman's sword art was not weak. This brat just wait for his bad luck. A blurry pitch-black sword shadow appeared behind Chu Tian. Scram. Chu Tian controlled his source spirit sword to slash out. A destructive berserk strength suddenly surged out. Wan Wui was forced back several steps. His face changed several times. Yu Niao's face was filled with shock. Sword source spirit. This brat actually had a source spirit. In other words, when he fought with her, he did not use his full strength. Wan Wui became a bit afraid. I didn't think that you would have some skill, but you're still lacking. I'll let you see the true power of the Yin sword art. Little brother, wait a moment. Mo Yin looked up and down at Chu Tian. This little brother's strength is not bad. He has the qualifications to join us. As for the treasures, how about we split them evenly? All right. Chu Tian was also an arrow at the end of its flight. His spirit energy was almost used up. He could not summon the demon god's sword anymore. Yunyao's heart was half dead with anger. She could not drive away this evil star. Instead, she let him join them. The Yin Wind swordsman and the Black Flame medicine master. These two idiots could not see. This brat was not as simple as he looked. One-on-one they were not his match. Chapter 73. The four of them all had their own ulterior motives. Mo Yin was a sly fox. Wan Wui was a person with deep schemes. Yun Yao held a grudge against Chu Tian. Chu Tian not only had to guard against the three of them, he had to think of a way to get a share of the loot. This alliance was too fragile. They were all suspicious of each other, and could break at any time. While Mo Yin was walking, he suddenly said, "The Purple Lightning young master has a rare Thunder Source spirit. If he can obtain the Thunder Spirit bead, then his strength will increase by several times. The threat of the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb would not be anything. Yun Yao's strength would increase after obtaining the Thunder Spirit bead. Wouldn't the others be in danger?" Wan Wui's eyes flashed with a ruthless light. His fear of Yun Yao deepened. Yun Yao retorted, "The Spirit King has refined the Netherworld flame for 1,000 years. The ancient sect's treasure Netherworld sword. How could these two be worse than the Thunder Spirit bead? Your flame-controlling art, combined with the Netherworld flame. The foolproof silver wine sword art, combined with the Netherworld sword. How could it be inferior?" Mo Yin and Wan Wui did not say anything. Chu Tian was a little unhappy. "You guys have a clear goal. But if you take away all the treasures, would father come here to drink the northwest wind?" But Chu Tian did not show it. If the Spirit King really existed in the main hall, it would be a problem for him to escape, not to mention getting the treasures. When they entered the main hall was hazy. The ground was littered with corpses, broken armor, broken swords were all scattered around. These corpses were left behind by previous explorers. There were many cultivators that came to the Netherworld Hall to search for treasures, but almost all of them died here. It gave people an ominous feeling in their hearts. In the middle of the main hall, a three-eyed demon statue stood there. The demon's eye in the middle flashed a purple light. It was like a demon's eye, staring at them. Yun Yao excitedly said, "That is the Thunder Spirit bead." That glowing eye was a bead. It was the size of a fist, sparkling and translucent. Its light was threatening. It was surrounded by arcs of lightning. Even from far away, they could still feel the strong energy fluctuations. Chu Tian rubbed his chin. "Thunder Spirit bead? It hasn't been damaged after so many years, so it must be a rare treasure. No wonder Yun Yao wants it so much." Mo Yin and Wan Wui became suspicious. The Netherworld Hall had three treasures: the Thunder Spirit bead, the Netherworld sword, and the Netherworld flame. Why did he only see the Thunder Spirit bead? A cold wind blew in the main hall, and the piles of bones on the ground emitted rays of light. In the previously empty space, more than 10 humanoid figures with green faces and sharp fangs appeared, each of them holding a trident. So many Yiksha. Yun Yao's expression did not look too good. The spirit Yiksha appeared blue willow, the wisps of flames surging out, and immediately attacked the group. Mo Yin knit his brows and said, "Let's go together." Yun Yao summoned her Thunder Source spirit, and 100 streaks of thunder came out, just like a meteor shower, wildly attacking the spirit demon. Although Yun Yao's strength wasn't weak, there were just too many Yikshas. She alone wouldn't be able to hold them off. Chu Tian had no choice but to make his move. 2 light talismans automatically ignited, instantly turning into 2 long light spears, fiercely slamming towards a Yiksha that had slipped through the net. Light flashed. The Yiksha was forced back several meters. Chu Tian stood in front of Yun Yao. The light energy condensed into a spear, making the other Yiksha very afraid. They immediately slowed down. This little brat really isn't simple. I've never seen this kind of talisman technique before. He can actually condense light energy, using it to block the attacks of the spirit demons. Wan Wui and Mo Yin were shocked. They were more and more curious about Chu Tian's background. If this person was a Central State person, there was no way he wouldn't have any reputation. Could it be that he wasn't a Central State person, or even a Southern Xia person? Fierce spirits were hard to deal with, mainly because their bodies were hollow. This greatly limited the damage of normal weapons and techniques. The Yiksha had been in the ancient tomb for countless years. It had been suppressed by the ancient tomb seal, causing its cultivation to be suppressed. But its background was very deep. It wasn't easy to kill. Mo Yen had no choice but to make a move. His hands suddenly clasped together. A black flame appeared from his body, turning into dozens of fireballs, like rain falling down on the Yiksha. Mo Yen cultivated an ancient cultivation technique, the Imperial Flame Art. His source spirit was also fire attributed, so he could control all kinds of flames. As an alchemist, he could greatly increase the quality of his pills. As an awakened soul cultivator, he could collect flames. It could increase his battle strength. Mo Yen and Yunyao suppressed from a distance. Chu Tian and Wan Wuyi stepped forward, attacking from a close range. The several fierce Yiksha were forcibly blocked by the four of them. Chu Tian swallowed a piece of 1,000-year yuan essence grass, using it to maintain his spirit energy supply. He suddenly launched a fierce attack, his two spears piercing through the Yiksha. Peng! The first Yiksha had been killed. Wan Wuyi was worthy of being the most famous rogue swordsman in Central State. The Yin Wind sword art was an evil cultivation technique, so he was not afraid of the Yiksha's spiritual interference. Blood Demon. Wan Wuyi was a swordsman, but his source spirit was not a sword, but rather an evil spirit filled with blood qi. Yin Wind Soul Slash. The ferocious-looking Shui Luosha instantly charged tens of meters forward. A blood-colored blade slashed through the air, to cleave a Yiksha into two. Yunyao revealed a shocked expression. Using a source spirit to display sword arts? The Yiksha was a spiritual body. A source spirit was also a spiritual body. Wan Wuyi's body did not move. His source spirit was using sword arts, directly attacking the opponent's soul, killing a Yiksha with a single slash. This efficiency was much faster than Chu Tian's. Yin Wind Escape. Wan Wuyi's body flickered, turning into a cold wind, suddenly disappearing from sight. Chu Tian was stunned. We still haven't finished killing the Yiksha. Where does this fellow want to go? Wan Wuyi passed through several Yiksha, appearing in front of the three-eyed demonic statue. Leaping twice, he landed on the statue's head. Yunyao finally understood, taking the initiative to seize the Thunder Spirit bead. She angrily cursed. This despicable bastard. Stop. Chu Tian seemed to have discovered something. You can't touch that bead. What a joke. Do you want me to wait for you to take it? Wan Wuyi did not care about Chu Tian's warning. His sword pierced into the statue's head, and with a flick, the blue and purple bead flew out. Wan Wuyi wildly laughed. His hand reached out, grabbing the bead. The ancient treasure Thunder Spirit bead, I'll take it. Chu Tian angrily cursed. You idiot. Dong dong dong. The main hall began to shake. On the surface of the three-eyed demonic statue, countless cracks appeared. The cracks continued to spread. An ancient and terrifying aura was released from the three-eyed demonic statue. Mo Yen was shocked and angry. What is going on? Chu Tian sighed and said, the Thunder Spirit bead was placed here. It was to suppress the Spirit King. Now that the Thunder Spirit bead has been taken, the Spirit King will come out. What? Spirit King. Wan Wuyi turned around, seeing the three-eyed demonic statue, from head to toe. A purple and black energy aura was constantly being released from the cracks. Humph. What Spirit King? Father has the Thunder Spirit bead. Why would I be afraid of it? Wan Wuyi poured his spirit energy into the bead, trying to activate the bead, awakening the strong power contained within. Who would have thought? The wild will that was awakened from the bead actually resisted Wan Wuyi. Peng! Sparks flew everywhere. It was like a beautiful firework. Wan Wuyi was directly sent flying. The Thunder Spirit bead turned into a ray of light, escaping from his hand. Damn! Come back for me. Wan Wuyi was injured by the Thunder Spirit bead. How could he have the strength to grab it? The Thunder Spirit bead's speed was very fast. It was about to fly out of the palace. Chu Tian immediately flew into the air. Before he could grab the Thunder Spirit Bead, the Thunder Spirit Bead once again released a strong ray of lightning, directly striking at Chu Tian's body. A broken bead still has such a big temper. It's simply flipping the heavens. Chu Tian released the starlight to resist the Thunder Spirit Bead's power. He held the bead in his chest, and after several seconds, the Thunder Spirit Bead's power quickly weakened, and it gradually calmed down, as if it was in a deep sleep. Chu Tian fell back to the ground, panting from exhaustion. He swallowed a piece of Yuan essence grass. The Thunder Spirit Bead was a shockingly valuable spirit weapon. A spirit weapon was a higher grade equipment than a spirit weapon. When a spirit weapon was refined, it would give birth to a spirit weapon. The majority of spirit weapons did not have any consciousness, but there were a few strong spirit weapons that could slowly awaken their own consciousness over the years. They could even use special methods to cultivate, making the spirit weapon stronger and stronger. The Thunder Spirit Bead had been in the ancient tomb for over 1,000 years. In such a long time, normal spirit weapons would have already turned to pieces, but the Thunder Spirit Bead was not destroyed. Instead, it made the spirit weapon develop its own consciousness. It really was a rare treasure. Chu Tian was prepared to put the Thunder Spirit Bead into his bag, and then escape from this place. Who would have thought that at this time, a bone-chilling laugh would suddenly resound in the main hall. Jia 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 jia. A living person, a living person. The three-eyed demonic statue broke into pieces. The surrounding ghost fog began to boil. A strong and gloomy aura suddenly rushed over. A strong and terrifying pressure instantly covered the entire space, making it hard for people to breathe. Jia 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 jia. A dark red giant figure appeared in mid-air. Yun Yao shouted in panic. What is this thing? The moment this strong ghost appeared, the terrifying pressure made it hard for everyone to breathe. Its body turned into a shadow and disappeared. Then it appeared in front of the cultivators in the front row. These people did not even see its movements. The cultivators' flesh and blood were sucked dry. After the Spirit King killed these cultivators, its eyes fell onto Chu Tian. It had a certain level of consciousness. The Thunder Spirit Bead on Chu Tian's body gave it a very uncomfortable feeling, so it decided to kill this person that made it uncomfortable. So, a ghostly figure flashed. The Spirit King charged in front of him. A pair of scarlet claws fiercely clawed at him, almost distorting the air. Chu Tian reflexively condensed his glass body. Pa! An ear-piercing shattering sound. Chu Tian's internal organs were shaken. He was sent flying 20 meters. Fuck, it hurts! The Thunder Spirit Bead in his hand was a ticking time bomb. Not only would the Thunder Spirit Bead hurt people, it would also attract the Spirit King's attack. It was too dangerous. Chu Tian had no other choice. He threw the Thunder Spirit Bead at Yun Yao. Quickly take this to deal with it. Yun Yao was very clear on Chu Tian's defense. The ghost could beat Chu Tian like this. How could anyone else block it? Yun Yao caught the Thunder Spirit Bead. The Thunder Spirit Bead's consciousness was awakened, but it did not resist. Rather, there was a sense of intimacy, like a child returning to its mother's embrace. There was a kind of flesh and blood connection. This really was a top-quality spiritual object. The Spirit King roared into the sky, suddenly charging at Yun Yao. Yun Yao's speed was faster than Chu Tian. Lightning wrapped around her. She quickly retreated, activating the Thunder Spirit Bead. Roar! The lightning condensed into a giant python, coming out of the bead. It was like 10,000 lightning snakes rushing forward, brazenly charging at the Spirit King. Who would have thought that the Spirit King would laugh, releasing a blue and white flame, grabbing the lightning python? That strange blue and white flame instantly spread to the lightning. Those lightning pythons with shocking destructive power were all burned. They all turned into specks of ash. Burning energy. This is the Netherworld Flame. Damn, it refined the Netherworld Flame. Mo Yen was shocked and angry as he roared. It's over, it has the Netherworld Flame. All our attacks are useless, we are not its match. Chu Tian finally saw the Spirit King's true appearance. The Spirit King's body was as white as paper, wearing a red robe. It floated in the air. Its 10 fingernails were blood red. Its eyes were blood red. It was like a blood red ocean. It has just awakened. It is still very weak. Use the Thunder Spirit Bead to consume its energy. Yun Yao summoned the Thunder Spirit Bead's power. Endless wild lightning energy. Instantly surrounding Yun Yao. Several bolts of lightning, like several poisonous snakes, all shot out at the Spirit King at the same time. The Spirit King raised a hand. Blue and white ghost flames spouted out, forming a flame barrier, wildly canceling each other out. For a moment they were evenly matched. Mo Yin jumped up. His palms were covered in black flames. He launched a sneak attack at the Spirit King from behind. The Spirit King turned around. Its other hand came forward. Even under the pressure of the Thunder Spirit Bead, it was still able to block Mo Yan's attack. The three of them were in a deadlock. The Spirit King's almost solid body was slowly fading. It was clear it was being consumed. At this moment, the Spirit King let out a sharp cry. Yun Yao and Mo Yan's bodies trembled, as if they had been hit by an invisible giant hammer. They spat out mouthfuls of blood as they fell to the ground. The Spirit King instantly broke free. The netherworld flame was ignited again. This is bad. Mo Yan and Yun Yao revealed looks of horror. Who would have thought that at this critical moment, Chu Tian would charge forward, blocking in front of the Spirit King? A vast and ancient aura was released from Chu Tian's body. Spirit energy was released. It actually condensed into a giant shadow behind Chu Tian. What is this? Yun Yao was shocked. Could this be Chu Tian's source spirit? But wasn't his source spirit a sword source spirit? When the Spirit King saw this incomparably large shadow, it immediately revealed a look of fear. This was a fear that came from the depths of its soul. Within its scope of knowledge, it could not understand this kind of terrifying existence. You can die now. When the shadow source spirit turned into a wave of energy, it completely entered his body. Victory or defeat in one move. Chu Tian's fist released countless profound runes. It was as if all the profound mysteries that had existed since time immemorial were condensed into this fist. Pung! The Spirit King was hit by the invisible energy. It actually caved in. It gave a mournful cry. Its entire body was smashed into pieces. Mo Yin revealed a look of disbelief. His fist can actually directly hit a spiritual body. How could a physical body directly touch a spiritual body? This was a completely subversive method. Chu Tian did it. His fist entered the Spirit King's body, using his tyrannical strength to smash the Spirit King into pieces. A normal-looking youth, just how many secrets did he hide? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.